What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another amazing Naruto story. What if Naruto's shocking hidden family secret revealed? If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description box to original creator of this beautiful creation. Naruto had just got done using the shadow clone jutsu upon Mizuki the night before. They had a week before the time for the team selections. Naruto decided that he would go see the Hokage. On the way there he was bombarded by angry looks. Ignoring them, he hopped up to the roofs and entered the Hokage's office via the window. "Hokage Gigi, is there any way for me to train my body extremely well?" Naruto asked, not realizing until it was too late that the Hokage was talking to someone already. The man that the Hokage was talking to had waist-length spiky white hair tied back into a ponytail, with two shoulder-length bangs that framed both sides of his face. He had red lines that ran down from his eyes, and he wore a horned headband with the kanji for oil, a green short shirt kimono with matching pants with a mesh shirt underneath. "Ah, Naruto. Come in. This is my old student Jiraiya of the Sannin." "Jiraiya, this is Naruto," the old man stated. I see. So you want to train your body extremely well, Well, have you ever thought about gravity seals?" Jiraiya asked. "Seals? No. I don't know how to do fuinjutsu," Naruto admitted. "I see. Well, I'll train you," Jiraiya stated. "Really? Why?" Naruto asked. "Because I want to, and it's the right thing to do, seeing as you are obviously in need of some help," Jiraiya stated. "Alright, let's go," Naruto yelled happily as Jiraiya turned to look at Sarutobi. "Meet me at training ground 27 in 15 minutes. Jiraiya stated, looking at Naruto only to see him not there anymore. "Kid must be excited," Jiraiya muttered. Training ground 27, 15 minutes later. Naruto was at training ground 27 with Jiraiya, whom was giving out orders. "I want you to run around this training ground 15 times, do 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, and 100 squats, then we will work on something else. Now hold still while I apply the gravity seals," Jiraiya stated as he took out a brush and some ink. Naruto giggled at the feeling of the brush on his skin, and when the hermit was done he set off to do as he was told, noticing that his body was moving more sluggishly than before. 2 hours later, once Naruto was done, he noticed that it was much easier to move than before. "Alright, now we'll work on your chakra control. I would like for you to make as many shadow clones as possible," Jiraiya ordered. "Right, shadow clone jutsu," Naruto shouted as 2,000 shadow clones appeared. "Good, now then, I want 100 of you to perform the transformation jutsu and then go to the library to read everything there. 100 of you running up a tree using only your chakra to stick to it. 100 of you trying to hold this leaf to your forehead using only your chakra. 100 of you walking on water. 100 of you taking this senbon and running it over your skin. 100 of you learning the dragon fist taijutsu. 100 of you learning the toad kumite style. 100 of you learning the wolf howl style taijutsu. And the last 1,200 of you learning the jutsus from these scrolls," Jiraiya yelled. And with that they all set out to do their little jobs, with only the real Naruto being left. "Now I want you to sit there and meditate for an hour and then release one shadow clone at a time until they are all gone, and then I want you to process the information that you have gathered from it," Jiraiya ordered. "Hi," Naruto said as he sat down and began to meditate. An hour later Naruto set out to dispel the shadow clones one by one, and by the end of it, he had such a rush of information and memories that he had a migraine for about 30 minutes. "Thank the log for the fox," Naruto muttered under his breath. Naruto's stomach then chose that moment to speak up. "I guess that I'm hungry," Naruto stated. "Tell you what, I have one more thing that I want to do first, so after this I'll treat you to whatever you want and all you can eat," Jiraiya said, not realizing his mistake. "Alright, what is it?" Naruto asked. "This," Jiraiya said as he pulled out a slip of paper and then explained that he wanted Naruto to send some chakra into it. Naruto did so and was surprised when it split into 4 pieces, 1/4 turning into ash in an instant, 1/4 turned into dust, 1/4 crumpled up, and the last one got soaked. "Amazing, Naruto. You have an affinity to all 5 elements," Jiraiya stated. "Really?" Naruto asked. "Yes. Now do me one more favor. Send chakra into your eyes for me," Jiraiya said. "Fine, but you owe me," Naruto said as he did so, and was surprised when his vision became sharper. "Amazing. You have the Rinnegan, Naruto," Jiraiya stated. What's that? Naruto asked. The Rinnegan is a dojutsu stated to be far more powerful than both the Sharingan and the Byakugan combined. Jiraiya said. I see. Naruto stated intelligently, not at all like him in the least. Naruto then cast a very powerful genjutsu that required a lot of chakra over his eyes so that they looked to be normal. After lunch and a long whine from Jiraiya later. Alright Gaki. Back to work. I want you to make another mass of shadow clones. Jiraiya said as he amped up Naruto's gravity seals. Right, shadow clone jutsu. Naruto said making 5,000 shadow clones. A.N. Remember, Naruto used a lot of shadow clones to begin with and over 300 of them was working on chakra control and most of them was working on learning jutsus. Alright, I want 1250 of you working on the jutsus in these scrolls, and the other 3750 work on the taijutsu styles we were working on previously. Do not stop until you have mastered them. Jiraiya stated. Hi, the shadow clones said as they took off to fulfill their orders. Naruto, I want you to do the exercise from this morning again. Jiraiya said. Alright, just curious, what's my gravity seals at right now? Naruto asked. 4 times the normal amount of gravity. Jiraiya stated. Naruto simply nodded and took off sensing that he was moving much slower than usual. By the time his exercise was done, he had gotten used to the new amount of gravity. Damn Gaki, you get used to these gravity seals quickly. Jiraiya stated. It's because of the fox. I think he heals me quickly. Naruto stated. That makes sense. Jiraiya stated firmly as he adjusted the gravity seals once more. Alright, now dispel your shadow clones again. Jiraiya stated. Naruto did so and passed out from the exhaustion and the rush of information. Jiraiya immediately caught him and gently set him onto the ground before hearing a small gasp in surprise and vanished before reappearing behind a small girl with dark blue hair and fair skin, wearing baggy clothes that hid her figure. A figure that he was sure was beyond that of others her age. So what are you doing watching Naruto little girl? Jiraiya asked as the girl jumped in surprise and turned around showing that she was a Hyuga. Is Naruto-kun alright? The girl asked. He'll be fine little girl. What's your name? Jiraiya asked. Hinata Hyuga. She stated timidly. I see, but you still haven't answered my question. Why are you watching him? Jiraiya asked. Hinata simply looked down and blushed a bright red, a red that would put a tomato to shame. This was her infamous Hinata blush Mach 3. Let me guess. You are in love with him and he doesn't even notice you exist and everyone else is painfully aware of your feelings towards him. Jiraiya stated showing the reason why he was a Sannin with a spy network. Hinata simply nodded her head. I see. Well, how about you train with us tomorrow? I'm sure Naruto would be glad to see a fellow genin training with him. Jiraiya stated. Hinata looked shocked at that before quickly nodding her head so fast that it looked like it would come off. Alright, we'll see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Oh, and don't tell anyone that he passed. I have a feeling that he wants to surprise everyone with the fact that he had passed the graduation exam. Jiraiya stated whilst grinning at her. Hinata again nodded her head before taking off in a mad sprint. Jiraiya then picked Naruto up, and vanished with him and reappeared inside of Naruto's apartment and set him in bed before writing him a note telling him to be at Training Ground 27 at 7 o'clock and then he left. The next day, Naruto was at Training Ground 27 at 6:30 and began his morning routine of running laps around the training grounds for a light warm-up. He had already gotten used to his gravity seals setting which was at 5 times the normal amount of gravity. He then got a curious look on his face as he released the seal and ran, causing a few Chunin to gawk at the orange blur of motion that was going around in circles at Training Ground 27. Soon he got done and reapplied the seals before realizing that he had overloaded them to the point that they were twice from what they were beforehand. Meaning that what was 5 times gravity is now 10 times gravity. Needless to say he was on the ground struggling to get up. When he did though it was 6:58 and he saw Jiraiya and one of his classmates coming up to the training grounds. 7 o'clock. Naruto, this is Hinata Hyuga. She is one of your classmates and she is going to be training with us from now on until the team selections. Jiraiya stated. Naruto simply nodded and turned to her and grinned causing her to blush a deep red. Alright, let's get to work. Naruto, create as much shadow clones as you can. Jiraiya began. Naruto instantly complied and made a grand total of 10,000 shadow clones. Interesting. They doubled. I want 500 of them at the library reading, 500 of them practicing chakra control by taking a leaf and putting on all of the chakra points on the body in which Hinata will help you with, 500 working on those styles I gave you, 500 working on the jutsus I gave you, 4,000 working on this scroll of Kenjutsu styles. I want you to learn all of them and then combine them into a unique style and master it and name it. Next I want you to have 2,000 shadow clones work on your elements and the last 2,000 working with Hinata on her taijutsu. Naruto, I want the same number of laps, push-ups, sit-ups, and squats from yesterday. By the way, what is your gravity seal at? I can tell you are moving more sluggish than usual. Jiraiya asked. I accidentally overloaded it and made it to where I'm at 10 times gravity. Naruto stated. That's dangerous, kid. Only 3 people in the village have theirs higher than that. Jiraiya stated. Really? Who? Naruto asked innocently. They are my guy, the taijutsu expert of Konohagakure no Sato, Kakashi Hatake, the copycat ninja, and myself. Jiraiya admitted. So 2 Jonins and a Sanin? Wow, what are y'all at? Naruto asked. Guys and Kakashi's are at 15 times and mine are at 20 times. Jiraiya stated. Naruto was dumbfounded at that and immediately began to do his physical exercises. When Naruto was done, he dispelled the shadow clones except the ones fighting Hinata and nearly passed out once more. Hinata, whom was originally facing 2,000 shadow clones of Naruto, was now at 1,000 before she passed out from chakra exhaustion. Naruto simply dispelled the last 1,000 of his shadow clones before finally passing out. Noon. When Naruto awoke, he looked around before seeing Hinata still out cold and immediately began pumping his chakra into her body. Hinata, feeling her chakra reserves being refilled quickly, instantly jumped up and dashed off a few feet, but still wasn't fast enough for her chakra reserves to be completely filled. Now then, Naruto, show me what you have learned. Jiraiya said. Right, I'll start with fire style. Naruto stated as he began weaving hand signs. Ram, right pointing arrow, horse. Fire style. Great fire annihilation. Naruto said as he inhaled and exhaled a giant stream of concentrated white flames that burned the ground just outside of the forest area. Interesting, you already mastered fire style jutsus. That right, there is a SSS rank fire style jutsu that takes 5A rank water style jutsus or 3S rank water style jutsus to extinguish it. Now let's see earth. Jiraiya stated. Right, Naruto said as he weaved hand seals once again. Ram, right pointing arrow, horse, right pointing arrow, sheep, right pointing arrow, dragon. Earth style. Great dragon of infinite sorrow. Naruto shouted as a giant dragon made completely of steel rushed into the trees and took out a huge portion of the forest. Again, you have mastered earth style. That is of the same rank as great fire annihilation. What about lightning? Jiraiya inquired. Easy. Naruto intoned as Hinata watched in awe as Naruto shoot off jutsus as if it was nothing. Monkey, right pointing arrow, dragon, right pointing arrow, snake, right pointing arrow, horse, right pointing arrow, sheep, right pointing arrow, boar, right pointing arrow, dog, right pointing arrow, dragon. Lightning style. Great dragon of infinite thunder. Naruto shouted as from the clouds themselves a massive dragon made completely of lightning shot down from the sky and impacted with the ground. Mastered and of the same rank. Jiraiya commented. Now let me guess, water? Naruto asked. Indeed. Jiraiya stated. Naruto just nodded as he ran through 54 hand seals at an alarming rate. Water style. Giant explosive bite of the infinite number of water dragons. Naruto shouted. From a nearby lake 420 water dragons formed and flew towards them. Now for wind. Naruto said as he began weaving hand seals once more. Horse, right pointing arrow, boar, right pointing arrow, dragon. Wind style. Giant dragon of the north wind. Naruto intoned as a dragon made completely of wind soared at the water dragons and blasted through all of them except one, in which that one was severely powered down and it hit Hinata, soaking her, but not hurting her. Water and wind mastered and of the same ranks as the others. Jiraiya stated. Hinata was in shock that the boy she was in love with had just fired off 5 SSS rank jutsus without breaking a sweat, a feat only accomplished by 3 people in the history of Konohagakure no Sato. The first one was the Shodem Hokage, the second one was Madara Uchiha, and the third was the Yondaime Hokage. Alright, now then Naruto, have your shadow clones read out the entire library? Jiraiya asked. Yes, the civilian side, shinobi side, and even the forbidden section. Naruto stated. Excellent. Now then I want you to read these 5 books on Fuinjutsu. Jiraiya stated. Naruto looked at the books. They were the Fuinjutsu books ranging from beginner level to master level. I have 5 more levels past those, but I cannot decipher them. You might be able to do so. Jiraiya stated as he smiled at him and turned to Hinata and told her to climb a tree without using her hands. At her question on how to do so, he simply told her to use her chakra. Hinata nodded at this and got to work. Naruto made 50 shadow clones and had them all read each book 1 time each, meaning that once that they had dispelled he would have read all 5 books 10 times. 5 days later, Naruto was now an Uzumaki Fuinjutsu master and was well above anyone else in his class. His chakra control was perfect and his chakra reserves were beyond that of even all of the Hokage and Madara Uchiha combined. His wardrobe changed as well. He was wearing a red shirt with mesh armor under it, black pants, and a red coat with black flames on the bottom of it, eerily similar to the Yondaime's own coat. Hinata was now well beyond what she had started out at. She was a master of her own taijutsu style that incorporated her own flexibility and the gentle fist of the Hyuga clan. Her wardrobe as well. Think Naruto's wardrobe in reverse and form-fitting. When they arrived at the academy, everyone was looking at them wondering who they were until Kiba's nose told him who they were. Alright, I understand why Hinata is here, and by the way, damn, you look great today, Hinata. But why are you here, Naruto? Kiba asked. Ino and Sakura gaped at Naruto and thought that there was no way that the hunk of a man in front of them was Naruto. I passed dog breath. And before anyone says anything, I did not cheat. I did a highly dangerous mission at the risk of my own life and the Hokage made me a genin. Naruto answered. Iruka came in at that moment and was surprised at the changes shown by Naruto and Hinata. I'm going to skip all of non-important shit. Team 7 is Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Naruto Uzumaki. Your Jonin sensei is Kakashi Hitaki. Team 8 is Kiba Inuzuka, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburame. Your Jonin sensei is Kurenai Yuhi. Team 9 is still in rotation, so Team 10 is Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, and Choji Akamichi. Your Jonin sensei is Asuma Sarutobi. Iruka announced before leaving. Everyone was talking amongst themselves and Naruto just continually banged his head on the desk at his bad luck getting not only Sakura and Sasuke, but also the chronically late Kakashi Hitaki. Hinata was down at not being on a team with the guy she was in love with, but grinned at Naruto for the actions he was doing. Just then a few Jonin came in and took teams 1 through 6. So Naruto, why did the Hokage pass you to Genin? Shikamaru asked. I kicked Mizuki Sensei's ass for being a traitor and for hurting Iruka Sensei. Naruto said in between each slam of his head on the desk. Surprisingly enough, there was no mark, no damage, nothing wrong with Naruto, but the desk was beginning to crack. Yeah, right. You couldn't beat a Chunin like Mizuki Sensei. Only Sasuke-kun could do that. Sakura stated. Shut the fuck up, you idiotic banshee of a cannon fodder. Naruto said, still slamming his head onto the desk, which was now bowing inward. Everyone was surprised at that. Everyone knew that Naruto was in love with Sakura. In fact, he made it a point every day to prove it. What everybody didn't know was that he never loved or even liked her to begin with. It was all an elaborate ruse. Then a Jonin sensei walked in whilst smoking a cigarette. He was a tall man, with brown eyes, short, black spiky hair, and a beard. His clothing consisted of the standard Konoha Jonin clothing with his sleeves rolled up to his elbows. He also had a red sash that had the kanji for fire on it. My name is Asuma Sarutobi. Team 10 is to follow me, Asuma said as he left. Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji left in a hurry to keep up with the Jonin. Hinata was smirking inside because she was glad that Naruto didn't like Sakura and that he liked another girl in his class, but he never told her who it was. Just then another Jonin came in and she was a fairly tall, light-skinned woman of slender build. She had long black hair, shoulder-length untamed hair, and very unique eyes that were red in color that also had an additional ring inside of them. She was wearing a red mesh armor blouse that had the left sleeve missing, thick material that was bandage-like in appearance with a pattern on it that resembled thorns off of a rose. I am Kurenai Yuhi. Team 8 is to follow me towards the Akamichi barbecue restaurant. Kurenai said as Team 8 left with her. A few hours later Naruto got fed up and set up seals around the door and most of the classroom to prevent Kakashi from escaping without his pride hurt. They were minor pranking seals, but they also showed his skills in the art as well. Soon a relatively tall, fair-skinned and fit man whom had spiky white hair, a dark-colored eye with his headband covering his left eye, and he wore the traditional Konoha uniform walked in, inadvertently setting off the seals. Sensing danger, the man jumped to the left only for another seal to go off and send paintballs at him. He substituted with a chair only for the chair to inadvertently substitute back with him, forcing him to get hit by the paintball which had enough force to send him flying into the chalkboard which had yet another seal on it and it sent out a geyser of water at him which soaked him to his bones. My first impression of you three is, I hate you, the man said. But sensei, it was Naruto that did it. Sakura said trying to save herself and Sasuke from trouble by blaming it on Naruto. Interesting. Those seals are made extremely well for an academy student just turned genin, that is if they pass my test. The man thought as he examined the seals. My name is Kakashi Hitaki. Meet me on the roof in 15 minutes. Kakashi said as he vanished in a swirl of leaves. Last one there has to buy lunch. Naruto shouted out as he hopped out the window much to Sakura and Sasuke's confusion until they heard footsteps leading up the side of the building. Looking outside they saw Naruto walking up the side of the academy. Realizing that one of them was going to be the last one they decided to race there. When they got to the roof Sasuke was second and Sakura was third meaning her allowance was going to take a major hit if not make her go broke. We'll start off with the introductions. I'll start. I am Kakashi Hitaki. I have no intention of telling you my likes, dislikes, or my dreams for the future, Well, I have lots of hobbies. Kakashi stated and then he pointed to Sakura. My name is Sakura Haruno, I like, looks at Sasuke. My hobbies are, looks at Sasuke again. My dreams for the future are, looks at Sasuke once more, and I hate Naruto. Sakura stated glaring at him hoping to get a whine from him only to get a shrug and I hate you too Banshee. Great. A fangirl. Perhaps I can break her of that. Nowadays girls are more concerned about boys than they are about their ninja training. Kakashi thought as he pointed at Sasuke. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I like tomatoes and training. I hate fangirls, ramen, and annoying people. My hobby is training. I don't have a dream for the future, but rather an ambition for I will make it a reality. I will kill a certain someone. Sasuke said. Great. An Avenger. Hopefully I can break him of that before it's too late, Kakashi thought as he pointed to Naruto. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I like ramen, training, arrow sonin, and my friends. I hate those who don't take time to get to know someone before they get to know them. The 4 minutes and 20 seconds it takes for the ramen to cook, and my teammates. My hobbies are gardening and training. My dream for the future is to become Hokage so that I can protect those whom are precious to me. Naruto stated. Him I don't have a problem with, except this ramen thing he has going on. Kakashi thought. Be at training ground 27 at noon for your test. Kakashi said before vanishing in a swirl of leaves. Sasuke and Sakura turned to look at their remaining teammate only to see that he wasn't there. But he had left a note telling them to go ahead and eat lunch without him. He even left enough Ryo to cover the cost. Training ground 27. There was Jiraiya and Hinata waiting for him. Sorry guys. My sensei is Kakashi Hitaki and he has a problem with being chronically late to almost everything. Naruto said. That's fine Naruto, now then. I have here the Toad summoning contract and the Eagle summoning contract. I want you both to sign one of them. Naruto I would like for you to sign the Toad summoning. It may have a clue on whom your father is in it. Jiraiya said to get Naruto to do it and he did it in an instant. Hinata seeing Naruto do this instantly did the same for the Eagle contract and then they ran through the hand signs. Boar right pointing arrow dog right pointing arrow bird right pointing arrow monkey right pointing arrow ram. Ninja art. Summoning jutsu. Naruto and Hinata shouted out and poured their chakra into the technique summoning forth a giant toad and a massive eagle. Naruto and Hinata. These are Gamabunta and Hisuiwashi. They are the boss summons to the contracts you just signed. Jiraiya stated. Naruto and Hinata greeted the boss summons politely, earning their trust, and soon they disappeared in a puff of smoke. Alright now Naruto, I did promise this. Jiraiya said, tossing him the scroll. Naruto reopened the scroll, but the only name in between his and Jiraiya's was Minato Namikaze, which was the name of the Yondaime Hokage. That was when it hit him. I am the son of the Yondaime Hokage. Naruto said in realization. Yes Naruto, you are. Your father was known everywhere as the Yellow Flash because of the flash of yellow he made as he used the Hiraishin no Jutsu. He was a sulfur monosulfide rank ninja with a flea on sight order on him. Your mother, however, was none other than the Red Death, Kushina Uzumaki. She also had a flea on sight order on her with a sulfur monosulfide rank to herself to boot. Your father's teammates were none other than Hiashi Hyuga and Fugaku Uchiha. Your mother's teammates Hisui Hyuga and Makoto Uchiha. Your father's team was taught by me and your mother's team was taught by Tsunade Senju of the Sannin. Besides you there have been 2 other Jinchurikis for the 9-tailed demon fox. Jiraiya said. Kurama. For fuck's sake, my fucking name is Kurama. A voice sounded inside of Naruto's head, instantly making him realize that his was the 9 tails. He says his name is Kurama. And also, who were the other 2? Naruto asked. They were your mother and Mito Uzumaki Senju, wife to the first Hokage. Meaning that you, my boy, are related to 3 of the 4 Hokages. Jiraiya explained, making Naruto's jaw drop open, with Hinata having fainted from surprise at this news. So I'm royalty then, right? Naruto asked. I would say so with a heritage like that. Jiraiya said. Who were my grandparents? Naruto asked. I do not know. Jiraiya asked. Alright, Naruto said as he looked disappointed. Alright Naruto. Take Hinata back home and we will continue our training tomorrow after your tests. Jiraiya said. Naruto nodded and picked Hinata up bridal style and carried her home. Hyuga compound. Hiashi was waiting for his daughter to come back outside of the Hyuga compound until he saw her in the arms of Naruto. Now, Hiashi was no fool. He knew that the seal that the 4th Hokage used would hold the 9 tails in. However, he also knew that Naruto did not have a good reputation amongst the village. Sorry for disturbing, sir, but Hinata was training with me at Training Ground 27 with Jiraiya of the Sannin and she passed out for some reason, so I brought her home. Naruto said convincingly. Hiashi smiled and nodded his head and led the boy into the house and showed him to her room before leading him back into his study, where he asked Naruto to sit down. When he had done so, Hiashi asked a question that made Naruto extremely nervous. What are your feelings towards my daughter? I'm in love with your daughter, alright? Naruto answered. I see, and did you know she reciprocates those exact feelings? Hiashi asked. Yeah, I've known for quite some time, but I was waiting till I was a ninja before asking her out. Naruto replied. What is your pedigree? Hiashi asked. You really wish to learn a S-rank secret? Naruto asked. Indeed, for it will help in my decision. Hiashi stated firmly. Fine, my father was your teammate Minato Namikaze and my mother was Hinata's mother's teammate Kushina Uzumaki. Naruto stated. Hiashi's eyes widened at this news. Here sitting before him was the one that his eldest daughter had a betrothal contract to since before either one of them was born. It was sheer luck that they fell in love with each other before even knowing of said betrothal contract. I see. You have not only my permission to date my daughter, but I also wish many happy years to come, and also, you have my blessings should you wish to marry her. Hiashi stated. I see, thanks, but frankly, I believe that we are too young for that right now, minus the dating part anyway. Thanks for the wishing though. Naruto said as he began to stand up to leave. I have not dismissed you yet, Uzumaki. Hiashi said as he began to dig through his drawers for something. Ah, here it is. These are the keys to your father's estate. I've had them cleaned regularly over the years. Now they belong to you. Hiashi said. Thank you Hiashi-sama. May I leave now? Naruto asked, getting uncomfortable under Hiashi's stern gaze. In a moment. Hiashi called out. A moment later a man with short, slightly spiky brown hair appeared and asked, Yes Hiashi-sama? Please take Naruto here to the Namikaze residence where he will be staying from now on. Hiashi said. It shall be done as you have requested, Lord Hyuga. Ko said as he bowed and grabbed Naruto and took him next door to a moderate-sized house. This is the Namikaze estate. These were the grounds of the Yondaime Hokage and his wife. I'm not sure what spell you have put on my people, but rest assured that I will not stop until it is over with. Ko said as he left. Naruto chose to simply ignore him before drawing seals on the gate of the estate, making it to where only those whose blood he added into the matrix were allowed to enter the grounds or even touch the gates themselves. He did this of course with his blood already implemented into the matrix, otherwise it would have kicked him out of his own house. Upon entering he saw that the house had indeed been cleaned and stocked. He then went into the family archives and began to read on his family's history. What he found out though was a shocker to say the least. His grandfather on his dad's side of the family was none other than Harumi Hyuga. A Hyuga. His wife however was an even bigger shock as her name was Pawafuru Uchiha. An Uchiha. But what was even more of a shocker was that Pawafuru's father was none other than Madara Uchiha himself. That was huge. He looked at the mirror and released the genjutsu over his eyes to reveal his Rinnegan. He changed the chakra pattern in his eyes and they turned into a fully matured Sharingan. When he did it again they turned into a Byakugan. Then he changed them back into the Sharingan and stopped sending chakra into his eyes to reveal his true blue eyes once more to the world. He smirked before looking at his mother's side. What he saw there shocked him once more. His mother was from a clan all on its own called the Uzumaki clan, whom were skilled in Fuinjutsu, Kenjutsu, and Taijutsu. What was more surprising was that she was the sole heir to an entire country and that the Uzumakis were the reason behind Konoha's emblem. His grandfather was Weizu Uzumaki. A man so strong and wise it is said that it took 3 ninja villages to take down the village that the Uzumaki clan resided in. His grandmother was Yugama Uzumaki. It is said that her Kenjutsu skills were top-notch to the point that she could take out entire platoons of ninja with a single swing of her sword. His next surprise though came in the form of Waizu's mother and father and who Yugama's father was. Waizu's mother and father were Mito Uzumaki Senju and Hashirama Senju. Yugama's father however was Tobarama Senju and her mother was Jitsugen Sarutobi. If that was correct then instead of being related to 3 of the 4 Hokage, he was related to all 4 Hokage. He decided to call it a night and went to bed. Hyuga compound. Hinata awoke and went to the kitchen to fix her something to eat only to find her father there waiting for her. Hinata, we need to talk about your choice in a spouse. Hiashi said. Hinata nodded sadly at that. I have actually found you one. Do not worry for he will care for you greatly and bring great honor to the clan. In fact, you are already betrothed to him. Hiashi said. Hinata began to cry a little in sadness. Why do you cry my daughter? You should be happy. The name of your betrothed is Naruto Uzumaki. Hiashi said. Hinata upon hearing that lifted her head so quickly you could swear that you heard a crack from her neck. Are really? Hinata asked hopefully. Indeed, I find it funny. You've been betrothed to him since before either of you were born and you fall in love with him not even knowing that you were already betrothed to him. Hiashi stated happily. Hinata smiled happily at her father and gave him a hug before happily skipping into the kitchen to cook. The next day, Naruto awoke and did his morning routines and even increased his gravity seals to 25 times gravity. He then ate a healthy breakfast and left his estate and saw that Hinata was leaving the Hyuga compound. Hey Hinata, Naruto called over to her. Hinata looked over at him and smiled before waving back. They then walked together in comfortable silence until Naruto dropped Hinata off at Training Ground 26 and left for the next one over which was Training Ground 27. Naruto was the last one to arrive apart from their sensei. Naruto baka, why are you late? You made Sasuke-kun wait on you. Sakura yelled at him. Naruto vanished before reappearing behind her with a kunai positioned at her throat and said, "Shut the fucking hell up you motherfucking bitch of a banshee." Before vanishing once more and reappearing leaning against along with his eyes closed. "Dobi, I demand you tell me how you got so strong," Sasuke said in an arrogant fashion. No, Naruto said as he continued to sit there. Naruto baka, you do what Sasuke says right now or I'm going to pound your face in. Sakura screeched. No, and the moment you try is the moment you find out why I am the strongest on this team right now. Naruto said as he continued to sit there. It was at that moment that Kakashi chose to make an appearance and said, "Yo." Got lost on the road of life, sensei? Naruto asked. Indeed I did. How did you guess? Kakashi asked. Team Minato. Naruto said simply. Kakashi's eyes widened at that and simply nodded. Team Minato? As in Minato Namikaze? As in the Yondaime Hokage Minato Namikaze? Sakura asked. Yeah, it was a team between Minato Namikaze, Kakashi-sensei, Obito Uchiha, and Rin Nohara. During the Third Shinobi World War, Rin was kidnapped and Kakashi-sensei, whom was an ass at the time, was adamant on not going to save her, but Obito left to save her against orders and even told Kakashi-sensei off by saying that those who break the rules are trash, but those who leave their comrades are worse than trash. Kakashi-sensei then teamed up with Obito to free Rin and they escaped mostly, because one of the Iwa ninjas caused the cave to collapse and Kakashi-sensei, whom was blind in one eye due to an injury, was saved by Obito by pushing Kakashi-sensei out of the way at the cost of his own life. With his final breath Obito gave Kakashi-sensei his newly awakened Sharingan eye and told Rin to implant it and asked Kakashi-sensei to protect Rin because he was in love with her. A few years later, Rin was again captured, but this time it was by Kirigakure no Sato. There they made an unwilling Jinchuriki for the three-tailed turtle, planning on having it released upon the village. Rin kept on asking Kakashi-sensei, whom had saved without second thought, to kill her and he vehemently refused to do it. But they were low on energy as the Kiri ninjas caught up with them and Kakashi-sensei used his own personal jutsu lightning blade and ran at the Kiri ninja only for Rin to get in the way on purpose and impale herself on his jutsu, thus killing her and activating Kakashi-sensei's Mangekyo Sharingan. Am I right, sensei? Naruto asked, having given a full detail on Team Minato and the previous Team 7. Yes, you did? How did you? Kakashi began to ask until Naruto shook his head in the negative, effectively cutting him off. Alright, the point of this test is to get these. Kakashi began again only for Sakura to say, teamwork. Needless to say that Kakashi passed them with no test. Naruto then went over to Training Ground 26 to see how Hinata's team was faring and even subtly activated his Sharingan to see better. What he saw was Kurenai was using a genjutsu to hide her. Hinata was using her Byakugan to find her and direct Kiba, whom was the main brawn of the team, and Shino, whom would drain her chakra, at her. Tunneling Fang. Kiba yelled. Parasitic insect cocoon jutsu. Shino intoned in a monotone voice. The result was Kurenai getting sent into a tree before being substituted for a log and then she told them that they passed. Naruto deactivated his Sharingan and walked up them. Yo, how it going guys? Naruto asked. Naruto, what are you doing here? Kiba asked. Simple. My team is done with our test so I came over to see how you guys were doing. Naruto said. Yes, but why us? Shino asked. You guys were the nearest ones here. Naruto answered simply. I see. So you wouldn't be trying to steal any ideas for Kakashi now, would you? Kurenai asked. Naruto laughed at that before saying that Kakashi would have to work on Sasuke and Sakura first. Why is that, Naruto? Shino asked. This, Naruto said as he walked off a little bit before weaving hand signs. Ram right pointing arrow horse. Crap, everyone might want to get used to the heat. Hinata said knowingly, surprising everyone until they looked back at Naruto as he inhaled. Fire style. Great fire annihilation. Naruto shouted as he exhaled the concentrated wide stream of white flames out. That shocked Kurenai to the point that she had to prop herself up by using a tree to keep herself upright. So you can use fire style ninjutsu, so what? Last I checked Sasuke could do it too. Kiba said. Kiba, that jutsu was the signature fire style jutsu of one Madara Uchiha. Kurenai said. That shocked the rest of Team 8 minus Hinata and Kurenai. What? You expect me to believe that the dead last used a fire-style jutsu that was previously used by none other than Madara Uchiha? Kiba asked. Shut it, dog breath. You saw it with your own eyes. I just did a SSS rank fire-style jutsu and didn't even break a sweat. Naruto said before leaving. Grr, I don't know what you see in him, Hinata. Hey, where did Hinata go? Kiba asked only to see Hinata walking off in the same direction as Naruto did, which oddly enough was in the direction of the Hyuga compound and the abandoned Namikaze estate. However, they went to Training Ground 27 just in time to see Jiraiya appear. Alright kiddies, now is the day that I test you too. You are only going to have a light spar with each other. Ready? Jiraiya asked. The two of them got into their fighting stances. Naruto had his right hand shaped into a claw positioned in front of his body, his left hand curled into a fist behind him, but still facing her, his legs were bent and leaning towards her. Hinata positioned her right palm towards Naruto in front of her and her left palm facing him beside her, and her legs were relaxed slightly just enough for comfort, but tensed enough to still be able to move quickly. They then nodded to each other. Alright, in this spar you will demonstrate your taijutsu, ninjutsu, and also your stamina. Begin, Jiraiya shouted. Naruto and Hinata seemed to vanish from sight momentarily. Ultra slow motion so that we can see what is going on. Naruto and Hinata rushed towards each other, and when they got close enough, Naruto sent a kick at her, only for her to dodge and counter with a jab towards his abdomen, which he spun out of the way of and countered by sending a punch towards Hinata's head, only for to spin around that and send a kick of her own at him. He caught her leg and spun her around and tossed her away before weaving hand seals. Dragon right pointing arrow, monkey right pointing arrow, snake. Earth style. Earth Dragon Jutsu. Naruto said as a dragon made of earth arose from the ground and went after Hinata, whom began to weave hand seals of her own. Snake right pointing arrow, monkey right pointing arrow, dragon right pointing arrow, sheep. Water style. Water Dragon Jutsu. Hinata yelled as a massive water dragon arose from the nearby lake and clashed with the earth dragon, destroying both jutsus. Hinata landed on her feet and swiveled around and jabbed at Naruto, whom appeared behind her only for him to dodge and grab her arm and flip her over and lean down with a kunai pressed against her skin. An end, Jiraiya said. Naruto immediately got up and helped Hinata up and then turned towards Jiraiya awaiting his call. I'd say you guys are about mid to high Jonin level right now. Jiraiya stated. Arrows Sanin, we didn't even release the gravity seals. Hinata reminded him. That's right, what is our true level then? Naruto asked. Will you stop calling me that? I'd say you are about high Jonin to mid Anbu level then. Jiraiya stated firmly. Naruto squirmed in excitement and they waited once more to find out if they passed or if they failed. You pass, Jiraiya said smiling. Naruto smiled widely at that and picked Hinata and spun her around, causing her to squeak in surprise and blush, but not faint. When they turned around to look at Jiraiya to thank him, he was gone. Oh well, hey Hinata, wanna go out with me? Naruto asked. Hinata simply blushed a brighter red and nodded her head happily. They went to the Ichiraku ramen stand and Naruto ordered 3 chicken ramen, 2 miso ramen, and a vegetable ramen, whereas Hinata simply ordered a chicken ramen and a vegetable ramen. They began to talk about their days, their likes and dislikes, and their dreams for the future. When the ramen was served, Naruto couldn't help but sneak glances at Hinata whilst eating his ramen, and Hinata was having a hard time resisting the urge as well. Soon they finished eating and Naruto paid for the entire meal including Hinata's portion, even though she protested against it. But Naruto countered by saying that they were having a date and that the boy was supposed to pay for the girl that he was on a date with at the time. Hinata couldn't find a comeback for that one, so she dropped it. Soon they were at the Hyuga compound and Naruto kissed her on the forehead and said, "Good night Hinaheim. I love you." Those 3 words sent Hinata over the edge that she had been sent to when Naruto had called her Hinaheim. That made him sigh in contentment, knowing that he had such a huge effect on her, and then he carried her inside and explained what happened to Hiyashi, whom simply smiled and nodded his head and left for his study. Couple of weeks later. This is emotionally challenged King reporting in. I have target in sight. Approximately 4.2 meters from target. Why'd I have that name again? Sasuke's voice asked over the headset. Because Naruto was the one who suggested it. Kakashi answered him. This is Queen Banshee, whom is the queen of all cannon fodder and wishes she was as awesome as Hinata. Hyuga reporting in. Why the hell did Naruto give me that name? Oh, and I have target in sight and I am approximately 4.21 meters from the target. Sakura asked. Because it's true. I have the target, by the way. Confirmed, ribbon on right ear. Naruto said. Understood. Mission capture lost cat named Tora accomplished. Let's report in. Kakashi said as Team 7 returned to the Hokage Tower to get another mission and to report that their mission was completed. Alright Team 7, you can paint fences, babysit for one of the civilian council members, rake leaves, walk some dogs, fix some roofs, or, Hiruzen said as the daimyo's wife yelled, no Tora, come back. Captured Tora again. Sarutobi finished. We want AC rank mission Lord Hokage. Kakashi stated. The Sandaime Hokage nodded his head and pressed a button and said, send him in. Then a gray-haired, bespectacled man with a large beard and dark eyes walked in drunk as hell. Wash thish? I asked ish for some ninjish and you give me kids? The old man asked. Tazuna, these three are highly qualified shinobi. Naruto here happens to be the best of this team, but was the dead last at the academy. I however, am a Jonin. So there is no worry. Kakashi stated casually. Tazuna grumbled incoherently and decided that he would take what he could get. Alright Team 7, meet up at the gates in 15 minutes. Pack for a long-term mission. Kakashi stated as he vanished in a swirl of leaves. Naruto groaned and vanished in a swirl of flames, shocking Sasuke, Sakura, Iruka, and the Sandaime Hokage. Sasuke and Sakura just left via the door. Naruto appeared outside the Hyuga compound and entered the grounds waving hello to the guards, whom smiled and nodded in acknowledgement at him. He then asked if Hinata was home and they said that she had left for training with her team. Naruto groaned before heading next door to pack his things. When he got done he headed for training ground 26. When he arrived there he saw Kiba using his fang over fang jutsu that was unique to the Inuzuka clan to break through 5 huge trees, Shino gathering bugs, and Hinata sparring with Kurenai-sensei. Hey! Naruto called out, making Team 8 turn to him, and Hinata got a smile on her face as she rushed over to him as fast as she could, surprising all of Team 8 with her display of speed, and they were especially surprised when she latched onto him in a hug. What the hell is going here? Kiba yelled in surprise. What? Can't my girlfriend give me a hug? Naruto asked, surprising everyone even more. Girlfriend? What the hell? Kiba asked, dumbfounded. Hinaheim, my team and I are leaving on a C-rank mission. We'll be gone for about 2 weeks. Naruto informed her. Hinata looked depressed at this news, but nodded at him in resignation. I'll see you in 2 weeks Hinaheim, and we'll go on another date then. Naruto stated. Hinata nodded at that before gathering her courage and kissed him on the lips, shocking Naruto senseless before running off to continue her training. Kiba waved his hand in front of Naruto's face a few times and noticed that he was just standing there with a dazed look in his eyes and didn't blink at all. Hinata, I think you broke him. Kiba said seriously. 20 minutes later, Naruto walked up towards the gates with the same dazed, unblinking look in his eyes. Naruto baka, why are you late? You should be ashamed of yourself for making Sasuke-kun wait. Sakura screeched at him. Naruto didn't budge from his look. Are you even listening to me? Sakura screamed at him even louder. Naruto still didn't budge and kept on walking until he walked into the wall and fell over, still with the same look in his eyes. Kakashi looked at his eyes and laughed before saying, Sakura, lay off of him. He just got the biggest shock of his life a few moments ago. Give him a few more minutes and he'll be right as rain. Naruto blinked right then and asked, Kakashi-sensei? Sasuke-teme? Sakura baka? Tazuna-san? When did you guys get here? We were here before you baka. What did you get that made you like that? Sasuke asked. I'll tell you later, Naruto said as they left through the gates. Naruto baka, you tell Sasuke-kun what he wants to know right now or else. Sakura yelled at him in a threatening manner. Sakura grew angry at that and went to punch him, only for her to be flipped over his shoulder and crash through a tree. Don't touch me, Naruto said simply before walking off. Tazuna saw that and was amazed until he saw Kakashi not paying any attention and asked him if he was worried about his student, and when he replied that Naruto had went easy on her, that scared Tazuna shitless for a moment, but internally he was glad that such a person was there to protect him. Naruto and Kakashi then noticed a puddle of water, which was weird being as there hadn't been any rain in weeks. As they passed the puddle, 2 missing ninja from the village hidden in the mist. One had shoulder-length, wild dark brown hair and had dark eyes. He wore a rebreather that covered the lower half of his face and had a large clawed poisoned gauntlet on his right arm, which had a chain of shurikens connecting him to his counterpart, whom looked exactly like the other one except his gauntlet was on his left arm. They wrapped their chains around Kakashi and slicked him to pieces and went after Tazuna, only for Naruto to surround them with shadow clones and had their katanas pointed at their necks instantly. Maizu and Gozu instantly began to tear through the shadow clones until Sasuke came forward and locked the chain to a tree. Sakura then punched the ground and encased them in rocks. Alright, you can come out now, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto said, pointing right up at him in the tree. Kakashi dropped down and smiled at Naruto before turning towards Tazuna, and Tazuna explained how Gato was trying to kill him by hiring ninja to do the job. Kakashi put it up to a vote, but Naruto just began walking off whilst saying, "If we abandoned this mission now, it would look bad upon Konoha's reputation. I say we continue on with the mission because let's face it, the old man can't afford anything else. I'll pay the remainder." Tazuna, Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi were surprised at this, and Sasuke asked, "How are you going to pay the remainder, Dobi? That's 75,000 ryo. That's petty pocket change." Naruto commented and walked off, dragging Tazuna along with him. Sasuke decided that he wasn't going to be outdone and ran off towards Naruto with Sakura chasing after him. Kakashi sighs in exasperation and went after them after sending a letter to the Hokage. Hokage office. Hiruzen Sarutobi was busy doing the bane of all Kage, paperwork. He was by now wishing for a distraction. His wishes were answered by a pug entering who was known as Pakun. "Pakun, what are you doing here?" the Sandaime Hokage asked. "Kakashi sent me. It turns out that their mission has turned from a C rank into an A- rank." Pakun informed the Hokage. "I see. Go fetch me Team 8 and then you can be dismissed," Sarutobi stated. Pakun nodded before leaving towards Training Ground 26. Training Ground 26. Kurenai, Hinata, Kiba, and Shino were having a taijutsu spar when Pakun arrived in between them and said, "The Hokage have summoned you to meet with him." "What has happened to Team 7? Kurenai asked, making Hinata's eyes widen in fear. "I am not at liberty to say," Pakun said. Team 8 nodded and headed towards the Hokage Tower. Hokage office. Team 8, Team 7 has encountered some unexpected trouble on their C-rank mission. They are now on an A- rank mission due to the unexpected arrival of enemy shinobi, and they are in need of assistance. They are headed for the Land of Waves. You are to pack your bags and leave immediately. Hiruzen ordered them. Team 8 nodded in affirmative and left to pack their things. 10 minutes later, Team 8 ran from Konoha headed towards the Land of Waves. Kiba was out in front tracking them with his nose. Soon they caught up to them, and Naruto brightened up at the sight of Hinata, much like how Hinata brightened up at the sight of Naruto. Sakura, being the idiot that she was, mistook the signs and screeched, "Hey, back off. Sasuke-kun is mine. And Naruto, I always knew that there was something going on between you and Kiba." Naruto, Hinata, and Kiba gagged at that before asking her if she had lost her mind. "No, why?" Sakura stated, "Because I have no interest in the Uchiha." Hinata stated, "And I'm not gay." Naruto and Kiba stated simultaneously. Naruto then wrapped his arm around Hinata's waist and smiled at her, saying, "I'm as straight as a board, and I have the most wonderful girlfriend in the world. And I have the most wonderful boyfriend in the world," Hinata said, leaning her head on Naruto's shoulder, smiling as she did so. Sakura, Sasuke, and Kakashi's eyes widened in surprise at that, and Sakura ruined the moment by screaming, "You two are going out? When? Are you out of your mind, Hinata? Why settle for Naruto when you can do so much better?" Naruto growled before stomping up the hill and then turned around. "What I am about to reveal are two S-class secrets that revolve around me, so I am allowed to reveal them as I deem fit to do so. My father was once a genin like us, but was very gifted. His teammates were Hiyashi Hyuga and Fugaku Uchiha, all under the guidance of Jiraiya of the Sannin. At a young age, my father defeated 3 Kumogakure Chunin to rescue my mother from being kidnapped. When my father achieved Jonin rank, he took on a team of his own. His name was Minato Namikaze," Naruto stated, shocking everyone there except Kakashi and Hinata. "You claim that your father was the Yondaime Hokage?" "Yeah, right," Sakura said. "I'm not done. My mother's name was Kushina Uzumaki. She was the heiress to an entire country before heading to Konoha to become a kunoichi. But back to my heritage on my dad's side for now. My grandfather was Harumi Hyuga, a powerful side branch member in his own right and designer of the 8 trigrams 128 palms technique of the Hyuga clan. His wife was Pawafuru Uchiha. Sound familiar, Sasuke?" Naruto asked. "It can't be. Pawafuru Uchiha was the daughter of the founder of our clan, Madara Uchiha." Sasuke yelled. "Indeed," Naruto said as he showed his fully matured Sharingan and his Byakugan respectively. "Now on to my mother's side of the family, and this comes as a shock to all. My mother's father was Weizu Uzumaki, who was so powerful it took 3 ninja villages to take down Uzugakure no Sato whilst he was the Azukage. His wife was Yugama Uzumaki. It was said that her kenjutsu was so strong that she was able to take out entire platoons of ninja without receiving a single scratch. Waizu's mother and father was Mito Uzumaki Senju and Hashirama Senju, and Yugama's mother and father was Tobarama Senju and Jitsugan Sarutobi. The Uzumaki have their own special body bloodline though. It is what enables me to be able to have 3 dojutsus among other things. Naruto said, activating his Rinnegan and then soon afterwards changing it back into the Sharingan and deactivating it. Everyone was shocked at that news, including Kakashi and Hinata. Now on to the other S-class secret. October 10, 12 years ago, the Nine Tails attacked Konoha and the Yondaime defeated it by killing it, correct? Naruto asked. That's right, Sakura said. Wrong. Dad couldn't kill the Nine Tails because it was a being of pure chakra. So he did the next best thing, he sealed it into his newborn son. I am the container for the Nine Tails. But I'm not the first Jinchuriki for the Nine Tails. My mother was the second and I am the third. My great-grandmother, Mito, was the first Jinchuriki for the Nine Tails. And the Nine Tails' name is Kurama. Naruto stated firmly. Again he surprised everyone including Kakashi and Hinata. I have a confession to make. Before Naruto and I were even born, his family and I set up a betrothal contract between the two of us. Hinata stated happily. Naruto was unconscious with a shit-eating grin on his face at that news, whilst Sasuke only took one look at Naruto and sighed before picking him up and carried him onto the boat. When they were halfway there, Naruto awoke to being on a private boat with Hinata. When Naruto asked if what she had said was true, she immediately said that it was. He smiled happily and kissed her until they heard a whisper, "Hey, keep it down. I don't want Gato knowing that I helped you. Hey Hinata, do you think that the mist is getting thicker?" Naruto hissed at her. Hinata nodded her head silently at that, and Naruto got a devious idea since they were alone, by themselves, on the boat. He reached over and kissed her, sending chakra into her through the kiss. Soon a seal appeared on her neck and she passed out, making Naruto whine in disappointment until he saw the seal upon Hinata and saw that it was a rather unusual seal. Upon closer inspection of it, he deduced that it had 4 functions. 1. It increased her chakra reserves and chakra control to match his. 2. It shared any and all chakra between them, meaning that she could access Kurama's chakra. 3. It allowed the sharing of bloodlines, and 4. It allowed telepathic communication. This meant that Hinata was stronger than anyone in their rank, possibly even above their rank. When Hinata began to awaken, they had landed on the shore of the Land of Waves and they began to trek into the woods so as to arrive at the village that Gato was controlling. Kiba heard a rustling sound coming from the bushes and instantly threw a kunai at it, only for a frightened white rabbit to crawl out of the bush. Substitution Jutsu. Naruto, Hinata, Kakashi, and Kurenai thought as they all heard the sound of something big, bladed, and heavy headed towards them. Everyone get down, Kakashi shouted, taking Tazuna with him to the ground. Everyone ducked to the ground as a giant sword swung overhead and wedged itself into a tree. Then a tall and noticeably muscular man with pale white skin and short spiky black eyes with brown eyes with very small eyebrows appeared on the handle of the giant sword. Zabuza Momochi, Demon of the Bloody Mist. A rank missing ninja from Kirigakure no Sato. Kakashi stated. Kakashi of the Sharingan and Kurenai the Genjutsu mistress. Glad to see that my reputation precedes me. Now hand over the old man and we can go along our daily routines. Zabuza said. Not on your life. Naruto said as his Rinnegan activated. Oh? And what are you gonna do about it when I'm right behind you? Zabuza said as he appeared suddenly behind Naruto and went to swing his massive sword known as Kabikirabocho at him to kill not only him, but everyone whom was protecting Tazuna. Fearing for his life, Naruto said the first thing that came to his mind, Asura Path. Then he gained armor and his arm transformed into a cannon and shot an energy beam of high concentrated chakra at Zabuza, only for him to turn into water, signifying him as a water clone. Oh, that one is quite skilled, Kakashi. Zabuza said as Kakashi and Kurenai appeared behind him and both stabbed him with a kunai, only for him to turn out to be a water clone as well, and another Zabuza appeared behind them. Water style. Water prison jutsu. Then Kakashi and Kurenai got caught in the jutsu and Zabuza appeared behind that Zabuza. Well now then kiddies, let's play, Zabuza said as he dashed forward. Naruto groaned and put his hands in the sheep hand seal and intoned, "Gravity seal, Kai." Then Naruto vanished before everyone except Kakashi, Kurenai, Hinata, and Zabuza's eyes, although it was hard for them to keep track of him. "Nah," Naruto said as he punched Zabuza's face, launching him back a couple of feet. "Ruto." 4 shadow clones surrounded him and kicked him into the air. "Uzumaki barrage," Naruto shouted as he sent a chakra-infused axe kick to Zabuza's head, sending him back to the ground and create a crater from the force the kick had. Then Naruto said another 2 words that were inherently instinctual to him, "Bansho Tenin." Then the water clone that was holding Kakashi and Kurenai was pulled towards Naruto, leaving the orbs behind, thus ending the jutsu, and was impaled upon Naruto's katana. Zabuza, whom had seen this after crawling out of the crater, was surprised by the boy. Soon Naruto was in front of him about to land a punch when 3 senbon pierced Zabuza's neck and a hunter ninja appeared and took Zabuza's body away. Naruto sighed and reapplied his gravity seals and unintentionally overpowered it and made it to where the seals were at 50 times gravity. The physical strain knocked him out cold. An undetermined amount of time later, Naruto awoke and saw a ceiling and automatically assumed that he was in Tezuna's house. He got up, got dressed, and exited the room. There he saw teams 7 and 8 talking about how Naruto had single-handedly took on a Jonin-level ninja and lived to tell the tale. Naruto cleared his throat and Hinata vanished before reappearing in mid-motion to tackle Naruto to the ground. Naruto immediately caught her and fell back to avoid hurting her. Kakashi then decided to train teams 7 and 8 for the week whilst Zabuza recovered. They followed him to a clearing in the forest around Tezuna's house, and there he described the tree climbing exercise. Naruto and Hinata informed Kakashi that they already knew and mastered this exercise. When Sasuke and Sakura didn't believe them, Naruto walked up the tree in a casual manner along with Hinata, making their eyes widen in surprise. After that they dropped down and got into the meditation position and began to meditate. Mindscape. Naruto and Hinata awoke in a cave that had water for a floor and a cage was in front of them. "Ah, it seems that my container and his mate have finally joined me here for a visit," Kurama said as he appeared behind the gates. "Kurama, what is up with that power I used against Zabuza, and what is up with the seal on Hinaheim?" Naruto asked. "The powers you used against the missing ninja known as Zabuza is part of the Rinnegan. The Rinnegan allows the user to have a total of 7 paths. They are Diva, Asura, Human, Animal, Preta, Naraka, and Outer paths. Diva path allows the user to manipulate the attractive and repulsive forces. Asura path grants the user to grow mechanized limbs, weaponry, and armor. Human path gives the ability to read a victim's mind by removing their soul. Animal path lets the user summon from a wide variety of creatures. Preta path allows the user to absorb an unlimited amount of chakra. Naraka path allows one to summon the king of hell and use him for interrogation and repairs to the paths themselves. And finally, outer path rules over both life and death. However, most people only know about the first 6 because no one realizes about the 7th and final path. On your mate is simply a mate mark that simply divides my chakra between the 2 of you, along with a few other things like her having your bloodlines and your ability to think at the spur of the moment," Kurama stated. "I see. What are the techniques?" Naruto asked. "Shinra Tensai, Bansho Tenin, Chibaku Tensai, and Tengai Shinsei for the Diva path. However, knowing you, Tengai Shinsei will forever be lost to you because it requires a Mangekyo Sharingan, which requires you to kill your best friend. The outer path is the only other one, and it is outer path. Samsara of the heavenly life jutsu. That jutsu allows you to completely revive the dead once more. It also allows, through the use of chakra rods, the ability to have 6 other bodies under your control. This is called the 6 paths technique. Understand?" Kurama explains. Naruto nodded and smiled, thinking that his dojutsu was amazing. He then began to ask about his Mangekyo Sharingan. "Why would I have to kill my best friend to gain it?" "Because it requires pure sadness to unlock," Kurama stated firmly, and after that Naruto and Hinata left to practice their jutsus. Outside the mindscape, Naruto then left the clearing and entered a different clearing more than 100 miles from the Land of Waves, and then he activated his Rinnegan and said, "Shinra Tensai." and the resulting repulsive force was enough to destroy everything within 50 miles. Hinata did much the same thing, and their two circular patterns of destruction interlaced and formed a weird shape, and then they heard Kurama say that they hadn't mastered the jutsu, but were proficient with it. They then began practicing the other 6 paths, leaving the final path alone. Soon most of the week had passed and they were in Tezuna's house asleep. When they awoke it was the final day and they heard a scream of fright, and when they rushed down to see what was going on they saw Tsunami being held by 2 samurai and Inari holding a butcher knife at them, only for one of the samurai to knee him in the stomach. Naruto grew angry and vanished before reappearing behind the 2 samurai with their own swords pointed at their necks. At their scared faces Naruto smirked and asked Hinata to do the honors. Hinata nodded before placing her hands on the 2 samurai's heads and ripped out their souls. She then saw that they were ordered to kidnap Tsunami to convince Tezuna not to make the bridge, and that Zabuza and Haku were about to be double-crossed. Naruto upon hearing this asked where Kakashi and the others were, and Tsunami said that they were already at the bridge. Naruto and Hinata upon hearing that summoned up a few dozen shadow clones and left for the bridge. Naruto and Hinata arrived to see Sasuke and Kiba inside a dome of mirrors. Hinata went to Kakashi and Kurenai's aid as they were taking on Zabuza, whom was using the hidden mist jutsu to hide his presence from them. Naruto went inside the dome of ice mirrors to help out Sasuke and Kiba, only to see them get struck down by a barrage of senbon. Naruto then got pissed and formed 2 hand signs and shouted, "Fire style, great fire annihilation." However, the fire style jutsu did no good against Haku's ice mirrors. Naruto then decided on something and voiced it out, "Fuck it. Shinra Tensai." The resulting repulsive force was enough to shatter the mirrors and shove Sasuke and Kiba into the water, where they instantly awoke and swam for the banks and sent Haku flying off towards the others, but he righted himself and rushed towards Naruto. Naruto smirked and deactivated his gravity seals and vanished from his sight. During this whole time Naruto had not touched his gravity seals and was very proficient in the speed he was using now. He threw a haymaker at Haku, whom to him seemed to be going in slow motion. The resulting impact broke Haku's mask and sent him into the water unconscious, but floating safely. Zabuza, seeing Haku beaten so easily, sighed in defeat, and as the mist cleared they saw Gato with an army of men waiting to kill them. Naruto drew his katana and said, "Bansho Tenin." Soon all of the thugs that Gato had hired were pulled towards Naruto, whom simply cut them down one by one until they were all dead. To everyone else it was as if Naruto was a blur of motion and the bodies were whole 1 second and in pieces the next. Gato upon seeing Naruto kill his men began to beg for mercy, and Naruto said, "Sorry, all out of mercy." Bansho Tenin. A.N. Note that Naruto is only using short bursts of Diva Path's attractive and repulsive forces, so he can still decimate, but not annihilate like what Pain did in the show and manga. Gato was pulled towards Naruto, whom simply chopped him in the back of the head, knocking him out. Naruto then proceeded to tie him up and reapply his gravity seals, which were then doubled once more, resulting in them being maxed out at 100 times gravity. He grunted under the strain, but somehow remained standing. "Hinaheim, can you help me move?" Naruto asked. Hinata nodded before slinging his arm around her shoulder and helping him waddle over to the village where Inari was with the entire village, and he said, "Here's the rat that tried to take over your village." Naruto then waddled off with Hinata's help and left Gato at the mercy of the villagers. "Naruto-kun, what is your gravity seal at?" Hinata asked. "My gravity seal is at 100 times gravity. I know that is really pushing my luck, as 100 times gravity is really harsh on the body, but I can't help it. I wanted to feel how 100 times gravity is, and to tell the truth, it isn't disappointing me," Naruto admitted. Hinata groaned at her fiancé's antics before returning to the bridge, where Naruto, whom had Kurama constantly healing the damage to his muscles, took his arm off of Hinata's shoulders and proceeded to walk slowly towards the group. "Hey Tezuna, how many people working 2 nights straight do you think it will take to finish this bridge?" Naruto asked. "About 15,000. Why?" Tezuna asked. "Shadow clone jutsu," Naruto shouted, creating said 15,000 shadow clones. Tezuna upon seeing this was amazed for a moment before setting the shadow clones to work. 2 days later, Teams 7 and 8 were leaving the Land of Waves as Tezuna named the bridge as the Great Naruto Bridge, As such, Naruto was embarrassed, and even though his gravity seals were at 100 times gravity, he managed to keep up with the rest of his friends all the way to Konohagakure no Sato Hokage office. Naruto and the others reported in with the Hokage, whom gave them their pay, and Naruto paid another wage that made up for the difference. He then left for Ichiraku Ramen along with Hinata, with Sakura following them so as to spy on them. Naruto felt three presences behind him, and when he looked he saw a box that was made to look like a rock except that it was still square. "Alright, come on out Konohamaru and your little friends too," Naruto said to the box. The box exploded in three different color of smoke, one being yellow, one being green, and the last being white. Inside the smoke you could hear coughing and what sounded like a girl saying, "You used too much gunpowder again Konohamaru." Naruto's sweat dropped at the three of them, because they were all wearing goggles. "Boss, can you teach us a cool jutsu?" Konohamaru asked. "Not right now Konohamaru, I'm about to eat with this lovely angel," Naruto said, indicating Hinata. "Really? Hey boss, are you too?" Konohamaru asked as he raised his pinky finger. Alright, I understand that in this part of the show, Naruto had a crush on Sakura, but still. What the hell is up with the pinky finger? Naruto just laughed nervously, not really understanding the situation, before he had a brilliant idea and said that he would play ninja with them whilst having his fingers crossed behind his back. Konohamaru and company all had stars in their eyes and tagged Naruto and ran off yelling, "You're it." Naruto laughed at them until he heard a thud around the corner and what sounded like threatening. Naruto dashed up to the tree and saw a boy in a catsuit wearing makeup. "Kankuro. It's not makeup, it's war paint." "Me. Whatever." Behind him was a blonde girl who had her hair in 4 ponytails, and the boy in the catsuit had Konohamaru up by his scarf. Naruto then flashed behind Kankuro and pulled out his katana and held it at Kankuro's neck faster than the boy could blink. The girl, seeing that the boy was in trouble, held her fan at Naruto's neck and said, "Drop your weapon and step away from my brother, or else. How about you drop your fan and your brother lets go of Konohamaru, or my girlfriend will have fun with you whilst I'll just lop off his head," Naruto stated firmly. "Besides, your red-headed pal over there doesn't seem too happy about you holding the third Hokage's grandson hostage like this," Hinata said, pointing at a red-headed boy with a gourd on his back and the kanji for love on his brow. "Gaara," Kankuro said, identifying the boy. "Kankuro, you are a disgrace to the hidden sand," Gaara stated firmly. But he started, Kankuro began before being cut off as Gaara disappeared in a swirl of sand and reappeared beside him and said, "Shut up or I'll kill you." Naruto studied Gaara discreetly for a moment before smirking. "Well then, number 1, allow me to introduce myself, for I am number 9. Naruto said, holding out his hand. Gaara, Kankuro, and Temari heard this and their eyes widened at this news and they thought, "Oh shit, Gaara is in danger." Temari thought, "Please don't be a homicidal Jinchuriki like my little brother. Please don't be a homicidal Jinchuriki like my little brother." Kankuro thought, "Mother is scared of this one. Interesting." Gaara thought, "My name is Gaara no Sabaku." "What are your names?" Gaara asked. "My name is Naruto Uzumaki and this is my girlfriend, fiancé, Hinata Hyuga." Naruto introduced them. "My teammates are my brother and sister, Kankuro no Sabaku and Temari no Sabaku respectively." Gaara introduced his teammates and they left. Naruto grinned before he looked at his watch and saw that if he and Hinata didn't leave now then they would be late for their team meetings. Naruto dropped Hinata off at Training Ground 26 before entering Training Ground 27. "Naruto Baka, where the hell have you been? You've kept Sasuke-kun waiting. What have I told you about that?" Sakura screeched at him. Naruto glared at Sakura before getting an idea. His eyes flashed to the Rinnegan and he muttered, "Shinra Tensai." The repulsive force sent Sakura through 2 trees and temporarily paralyzed her. "And I've told you that I couldn't care less about Sasuke's feelings as long as he is an Avenger. You sorry excuse for Kunoichi," Naruto said as he walked off towards a tree and climbed up it before beginning to meditate. No, he doesn't know Sage Mode. A few hours later Kakashi appeared and told them that they had been nominated for the Chunin exams and that they should report to room 301 next week for the first part. Naruto nodded before walking off towards Training Ground 26 and saw Kiba shouting in joy that he and his team were entering the Chunin exams. "Ah, I see that Kurenai-sensei has nominated you 3 for the Chunin exams as well." Naruto said as he appeared suddenly by Hinata's side. Kurenai smiled at them as Kiba simply growled at Naruto and said, "Yeah, and we'll kick your team's asses." Really? Well then, the only two people here that could kick my ass is Hinaheim here, and Kurenai-sensei. Kiba, you can have fun kicking Sakura's ass, she needs it, but if you face Sasuke, do us all a favor and rip that log he has lodged up his ass out of said ass. Naruto said as he walked off with Hinata at his side. Kiba growled even further at seeing this, but didn't know why he was acting like that. He decided that he would ask his mother. Naruto walked with Hinata at his side towards Ichiraku Ramen. When they arrived they saw Ayame and Tuchi sitting there serving the entire Akamichi clan ramen, making Naruto cry at the thought of not having any ramen, so they decided to try something different for once and went to a barbecue restaurant and ordered some beef with a side of rice. They talked about their day and about their ninja training when their beef and rice came along with some sake that the waiter said was paid for by a woman with fiery red hair. Naruto nodded to him and poured Hinata and himself a drink whilst Hinata set the beef to grill. They talked for a while waiting for the beef to get done cooking when they noticed that Ino, Shikamaru, Choji, and Asuma all walked into the barbecue restaurant, and apparently they noticed them too because Ino squealed in delight. Shikamaru stated, "Troublesome." Choji's eyes widened, and Asuma smiled kindly. Ino rushed over to Hinata and instantly began questioning her on how she bagged Naruto only for her to ignore Ino and flip the meat. Ino, realizing that Hinata was ignoring her, commented that she was being rude, which made Naruto pipe up and say, "No, it's rude that you interrupted our date." Ino groaned and muttered that she wanted the juicy details now. But Hinata again ignored her and served the meat, and then they ate without making a sound, and the only sound was from Team 10. Ino was complaining that she found out that Naruto and Hinata were dating and wanted to know how that came to be, Asuma telling her to quiet down. Choji munched on his chips noisily, and Shikamaru said, "Troublesome blondes. If I ever find a blonde that is not troublesome, it will be a miracle." In a hotel in Konoha, Tamari was taking a shower and ran her hand over her ample bust and suddenly sneezed and blushed, thinking that someone was talking about her, and secretly hoped that it was the Nara boy she had met earlier that day. Naruto arrived at the academy for the first part of the Chunin exams along with Hinata by his side, making Sasuke and Sakura groan because again, he was late. Upon taking a closer look at them they noticed that they were sweating, their hair was disheveled, their clothes were wrinkled, and they seemed to be panting. "Naruto baka, what did you do to poor Hinata?" Sakura yelled. "Nothing, you moron. We just got some last-minute training in. We just came back from it, really," Naruto said truthfully. Sakura looked like she didn't believe him, but let it drop. Sasuke sighed, opened the door and said, "Guys, don't take what you see the wrong way, but Hinata's here." Kiba and his ninja hound Akamaru bounded out the door with Shino following behind calmly before they took in Naruto's and Hinata's appearance and immediately reached the same conclusion as Sakura. The resulting explanation from Naruto cleared the air of the wrong conclusion that they had reached. They entered the academy and went to the second floor, where they saw that almost everyone was in front of a room with 301 on it. But that didn't make any sense, and so they decided to leave everyone well alone and make their way up to the third floor when a guy in green spandex stopped them and challenged Sasuke to a fight. Sasuke smirked arrogantly and began the attack on the green spandex wearing teen, named Rock Lee. Rock Lee easily dispatched Sasuke and declared his undying love for Sakura, making Naruto gag and walk up to him and say, "Dude, honestly, she's not worth it. She's a horrible kunoichi, she's a horrible teammate. She can't throw a shuriken straight, and she's a fangirl for Sasuke." Rock Lee wouldn't hear any of it and ended up challenging Naruto to a fight in her honor. Naruto sighed and said, "No. I won't fight you, Lee, sorry, but I don't believe she has any honor to uphold anyway. Don't get me wrong, if my teammates are in danger, I will do everything I can to protect them, but outside of that, they're on their own." Lee nodded in understanding after a while, and they entered the real room 301 together and noticed that everyone was there and that there was even a few ninja that they didn't know and even a dozen or more from different villages. Naruto noticed that one of them, the ones with a musical note on their headband along with a team from Konoha, or what seemed like it for he had his Rinnegan on under a genjutsu, had the same smell. They then heard a girlish squeal of, "Sasuke-kun." Naruto groaned and turned to face Ino Yamanaka on Sasuke's back and Sakura telling Ino to get off of Sasuke, that he didn't like fat girls like her on him. Ino immediately took offense to that and called her billboard brow. The argument continued for a while whilst the rest of Team 10 arrived, and then one of the members of the Konoha team that smelled similar to the musical note team came forward and told them that they shouldn't be so loud. "Oh yeah? And who are you?" Kiba asked. "I am Kabuto Yakushi. This is the 7th time in the past few years I have taken the Chunin exams. They are quite hard. Now to do you guys a favor, seeing as we are from the same village and all, how about I share some information that I have gathered over the years?" a gray-haired teen asked. "Alright, show me Gaara of the Sand, Rock Lee, Naruto Uzumaki, Hinata Hyuga, and what the hell, Neji Hyuga," Sasuke said. You know their names? That's going to make it too easy. I'll start off with Gaara first. Let's see here. It says here that his ninjutsu skills are phenomenal whilst his taijutsu and genjutsu skills are practically non-existent. He's completed 7 D ranks, 16 C ranks, and 3 B ranks, and it says here that he has returned from each mission without a scratch on him. Next is Rock Lee. It says here that his ninjutsu and genjutsu are non-existent due to a birth defect, but he is a prodigy of taijutsu. He has completed 7 D ranks, 32 C ranks, and 6 B ranks. Next is Neji Hyuga. He is the prodigy of the Hyuga clan, having mastered their taijutsu style, the gentle fist style, to such extremes that even the head of the clan, Hiyashi Hyuga, recognizes his talent, even though he is of the branch house. Next is Hinata Hyuga. It says that her ninjutsu and genjutsu are non-existent due to the fact that the Hyuga clan won't let her learn anything except the gentle fist-style taijutsu. Her taijutsu is about low average and she has completed 7 D ranks, 2 C ranks, and an A- rank. How? Kabuto began until Sasuke told him to continue. Alright, last is Naruto Uzumaki. It says here that his ninjutsu is extraordinary due to his use of the shadow clone jutsu. His genjutsu is non-existent due to his enormous chakra reserves and poor chakra control, and his taijutsu is about low average due to his brawler style of fighting. He has completed 7 D ranks, a B rank, and an A- rank. Alright, now I'm curious. Kabuto stated only for Naruto to chuckle and say, "Shut up. Truth be told, you smell of snakes." Kabuto laughed good-naturedly and said, "Wow, that's a good nose you have there. I have a pet snake at home, you see. I use its venom to make medicinal cures." Naruto could easily tell that the guy was lying due to his chakra signature momentarily fluxing, but decided not to comment on it. Anyway, there are many ninja here that have taken these exams before. There are teams from Suna, Kiri, Taki, Kumo, and Iwa. There is even a team from the recently built Otogakure, but that is a new village, so they shouldn't be too much of a threat. Kabuto stated, and the musical note team took offense to that and attacked Kabuto, and Lee commented that it was more to that punch than they thought, and Shikamaru displayed his intelligence and said, "It is that device on his hand. He probably sends chakra into it to cause it to vibrate and then uses that chakra to guide it where he wants it to go and how powerful he wants it to be. Auriite maggots, get to your assigned seats. And OTO, if I see you attack another ninja without permission, you are disqualified." A large man yelled out at them. Naruto and the others quickly got to their assigned seats, and the large man, who was called Ibiki, was passing out test sheets, meaning that this was to be a written exam. Naruto began freaking out a little bit. Then he reread the rules that Ibiki had generously written on the chalkboard and grinned when he came to the conclusion that they were supposed to cheat due to the fact that they were ninjas and were supposed to gather information. He activated his Byakugan and copied the answers from Shikamaru, and then finally turned his paper over and took a nap for the next half hour. Half hour later, Naruto awoke when Ibiki began to explain the rules for the 10th question, and Naruto easily deduced that the point behind the question was to not give up. When Ibiki had almost half of the Chunin hopefuls eliminated, Sakura began to raise her hand when Naruto, having seen her shakily begin to raise her hand, shot his hand into the air, and then he slammed it down onto the desk and proudly proclaimed that he would take the 10th question, and even if he got it wrong he would still become Hokage. That seemed to give everyone enough confidence to take the question, and Ibiki smiled and said that they passed, and no sooner had those words left his mouth did a purple, tan, and orange ball crash through the window, and there stood a very attractive female. "Hello, my name is Anko Matarashi. And from here on in it will be the second part of the Chunin exams. Follow me to the training ground of rainbows and kittens," Anko said sadistically. Naruto looked questioningly at Ibiki, whom said, "She means the forest of death." "Exactly," Anko said with an even more sadistic grin on her face. Naruto looked at Hinata, who nodded, and they disappeared in a swirl of flames and water respectively. Everyone just looked at the spot they were just in and wondered how they learned the Shunshin no Jutsu. They arrived right outside the Forest of Death and waited on everyone to arrive. When they did, Naruto simply began talking to Hinata when Anko, whom was miffed that Naruto wasn't paying attention, threw a kunai at him, only for him to simply catch it in between his index and middle fingers, spin it around, infuse wind nature chakra into it, and throw it back at her on seemingly pure instinct alone. Anko barely dodged it in time and it went through the electric fence, 5 trees and a boulder before implanting itself a few feet into the ground. Anko was surprised at the skill shown by Naruto because he was over 100 yards away. He still talked to Hinata as if she hadn't done anything at all or as if what he had done was no big deal whatsoever. Anko then began to explain the point of this part of the Chunin exams and had them all sign waivers and gave them a different scroll of a set of 2. 1 Earth and 1 Heaven scrolls. Team 7 got an Earth scroll and Team 8 got a Heaven scroll. Anko then told them to go to a different gate per team and said that the rules were simple: kill the team to get a scroll. When they had both an Earth scroll and a Heaven scroll, go to the tower in the middle of the forest, and then she told them not to die. Then the gates opened and everyone rushed into the forest. Anko, whom was enjoying her dango, was notified that the Kusa team was found with their faces burnt off. Upon being given a description upon the jutsu, she decided that Orochimaru was there in the Chunin exams. The question was, what was he after in these exams? Then her eyes widened as she realized what the Sannin wanted and had 2 teams of Anbu follow her into the Forest of Death and had Kotetsu head to the Hokage Tower to tell the Hokage that Orochimaru was in the Chunin exams. Inside the Forest of Death, Team 7 was racing through the forest, unaware that 5 teams were headed towards them for different reasons. The first was Anko and her teams of Anbu, which is being counted as a single team, Orochimaru, the Suna team, the AIM team, and Team 8. Anko was headed to where she sensed Orochimaru. Orochimaru was headed towards where he sensed Sasuke was. The AIM team was headed for Team 7 for their scroll. Team 8 was headed towards Team 7 because Hinata wanted to help her fiancé and her teammates followed to keep her safe. The Suna team was headed towards Team 7 to kill Naruto. The rest though didn't want anything to do with the last Uchiha's team. Naruto went into the bush, and when Sakura asked him what he was doing, Naruto simply looked at her in a disgusted manner and said, Going to the bathroom? Why does this matter to you? The only thing you care about is your precious Sasuke-kun, you fucking banshee." When Naruto said this, Sasuke visibly shivered in disgust himself. Naruto then went into the bushes and where he took care of business, and there he allowed the AIM nin to capture him, and when the AIM nin came out of the bushes, Sasuke looked at him and then chunked a kunai at him with almost deadly accuracy because the AIM nin, who was transformed into Naruto, dodged the kunai and yelled, "Hey, what the hell, Sasuke? Your transformation jutsu skills are more horrible than Sakura's. You got the kunai holster on the wrong leg. You have his hair color wrong, it's blonde not green. You have his eye color wrong, which are blue not brown, and you have the wrong color scheme to his clothes. That and the real Naruto is right behind you," Sasuke stated. The AIM nin, upon hearing this, saw Naruto standing there with his Sharingan activated. Then Naruto simply dashed in front of him before he could blink, let alone think, and poked him in the forehead and put him under a genjutsu. Then he deactivated his Sharingan and then he simply nodded to his teammates and searched the AIM nin for a scroll. When he didn't find it, he knew that one of his teammates had it, so he sealed him up into a scroll and then they hopped into the trees. Soon they were bombarded with a blast of wind that knocked Sasuke and Sakura down out of the canopy and blew Naruto away into a giant snake. "Ah, Sasuke-kun, how are you?" the Kusa nin said and sent killing intent at them to freeze them in their tracks. Naruto, whom was fed up with the snake trying to digest him, made a cross-shaped seal and said, "Shadow Clone Jutsu." The snake then proceeded to explode and disappear in a puff of smoke, indicating that it was a summon. Naruto then hopped into the trees with his Byakugan active and raced towards his teammates. Sasuke was fighting the Kusa nin with an injured leg due to the fact that he pulled out a kunai and stabbed himself to focus on something else other than the killing intent for a moment. He proceeded to engage him in taijutsu, but quickly realized that the Kusa-nin was toying with him. He then proceeded to jump back and try his hand at ninjutsu. Tiger right pointing arrow, monkey right pointing arrow, snake right pointing arrow, boa R right pointing arrow, horse right pointing arrow, tiger. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Sasuke shouted as he exhaled a giant fireball at the Kusa-nin, and the Kusa-nin dodged to the left, which is what Sasuke wanted because he was already there with his hands in the tiger hand sign. Fire style. Great Dragon Fire Jutsu. Sasuke called out before sending out his most devastating jutsu out at the Kusa-nin. The Kusa-nin then substituted with a random log on the ground, and Sasuke, out of chakra, knew that it would be hopeless. He proceeded to hand the scroll over to the Kusa-nin in return. The Kusa-nin would spare their lives. Then an orange blur grabbed the scroll and tossed it back to Sasuke and said, "Let me handle this, Sasuke. I have a score to settle with this one for hitting me with a jutsu." Naruto said as he looked at him with his Rinnegan active, and then they changed back into his regular blue eyes, indicating that he had put a genjutsu over them. "Ah, the Kyuubi brat, how's your folks? Oh wait, they're dead. Ha 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 ha." The Kusa-nin laughed. Naruto was not only peeved that the Kusa-nin brought up that subject, but also was curious that this person knew his parents until he noticed the scent on him. "Orochimaru Never mind, Sasuke. I might need your help with this one. He's an S-rank missing ninja from here. It is our job as Konohagakure no Sato ninjas to defeat and capture this traitor," Naruto stated as he weaved hand signs. Horse right pointing arrow, tiger. Fire style. Great Fire Destruction. Naruto shouted as he breathed out a large sea of white-hot flames at Orochimaru, whom was surrounded by trees everywhere. Orochimaru, seeing this genin use a jutsu like this, was surprised to say the least until he heard from behind him, "Fire style. Great Dragon Fire Jutsu." Orochimaru barely got out of there by substituting with a mud clone and reappeared and summoned another giant snake to attack Naruto. "Damn it, I don't want to use my Rinnegan here," Naruto thought as he ran through some hand signs. "Wind style. Drilling air bullet," Naruto said before breathing out multiple giant spheres of highly compressed air. Sasuke then followed up with using a fire style, Great Dragon Fire Jutsu upon the drilling air bullets, and thus increased the level of fire to an extreme level, and Orochimaru had only one thought in his head. "Oh fuck," was his thought before he vanished by substituting with another mud clone and reappeared behind Sasuke and bit him on the neck and vanished into the ground after having punched Naruto in the face and then preforming the 5 elements seal on him, thus disrupting his chakra and negating his ability to draw upon the Kyuubi's chakra. Naruto and Sasuke passed out due to the pain of being sealed, Sasuke with the curse seal of heaven, and Naruto with the 5 elements seal. Sakura then groaned at what she thought was Naruto's uselessness that had gotten Sasuke hurt and made a shadow clone and carried them to a hollowed-out tree. I know you all hate Sakura, I do too, but I couldn't think of another way for her to carry both Sasuke and Naruto. When Sakura was about to fall asleep, she heard a rustling in the bushes and drew a kunai and looked that way when a squirrel came out with an explosive note on it. Sakura immediately tossed a kunai at it to scare it away and drew another too because the explosive note meant that there was shinobi nearby. Just then the 3 sound shinobi appeared and gloated at Sakura at how she looked harmless. Sakura tossed a kunai which missed them and hit a tripwire, not realizing it until they felt the ground to begin to give way. They jumped off at the last minute only to find themselves surrounded by logs poised to hit them. The one with spiky dark hair poised his arms out and shouted, "Zankuha," and then spun around, making the powerful airwaves slice through the logs. Sakura, upon seeing this, was petrified. Team 8. Hinata was leading her team with her Byakugan and then happened upon Lee using his primary Lotus technique to defeat one of the sound ninjas, only for him to get back up thanks to his teammate using his Zankuha to create a hill of soft dirt for him to land on. They then saw said sound nin discombobulate Lee with a blast of concentrated sound waves to the right eardrum, causing him to be off balance and nauseous. They then saw his team appear in the trees and Sasuke awoke with purple chakras swirling around him that had an evil tinge to it and began to rip Zaku's arms out of their sockets. When Sakura began to hug him asking him to stop, he backhanded her away and she landed on Naruto, which awoke him, and he then released the 5 elements seal and then knocked Sasuke out with a simple triple-layered genjutsu. He then picked Sasuke up and carried him off towards the tower after the mummified sound ninja had given them their scroll, and when they laid them out, a red spiky-haired leaf ninja that stood at 5 feet 11 inches and carried a katana with him stood before them. Congratulations Team 7 for passing the second part of the Chunin exams. Please pick a room and rest up for the next 3 days. The man stated. Naruto and Sakura nodded and they all picked out separate rooms and rested for the rest of the 3 days that was left. Then they found out that there was too many teams that had passed and that they had to do a preliminary round. All these fights are canon except Naruto's and Hinata's, so I'll just skip to their matches. Hinata's match. Hinata was surprised that she would have to go against her cousin. She vanished in a swirl of water and reappeared in the arena whilst Neji simply walked to the arena. When Hayate called for them to begin, Neji began to use mind tactics on Hinata to get her to forfeit. Hinata simply began weaving hand signs without saying a word. Tiger right pointing arrow, ox right pointing arrow, monkey right pointing arrow, rabbit right pointing arrow, ram right pointing arrow, boar right pointing arrow, ox right pointing arrow, horse right pointing arrow, monkey right pointing arrow, tiger right pointing arrow, dog right pointing arrow, tiger right pointing arrow, snake right pointing arrow, tiger right pointing arrow, ox right pointing arrow, monkey right pointing arrow, rabbit right pointing arrow, bird. Water style. Great waterfall jutsu. Hinata called out using an A-rank ninjutsu without sweating, making everyone look at her in surprise. Neji, upon seeing his cousin cast an A-rank water-style ninjutsu, immediately gulped in fear and dodged out of the way, only to see Hinata in his face in a familiar pose. 8 trigrams. 64 palms. Hinata shouted and began her offensive to close 64 of the 361 chakra points in Neji's body. In the stands, man, all I can see is Neji moving oddly. Where is Hinata? Ino asked. You obviously didn't take your training seriously like the rest of us, or else you never would have tied with Banshee over there. Hinata has been taking her training seriously for longer than most. Before the Genin selection exams even. Naruto explained. In the arena. Before Hinata could get past 8 palms, Neji countered with a technique he didn't want to reveal until the finals. Rotation. Neji yelled before spinning around and released his chakra out of all 361 tenketsus on his body, thus creating the Hyuga's ultimate defensive technique. Hinata was sent back flying before her eyes changed over to the Rinnegan and she put a genjutsu over it to appear as if it was still the Byakugan, and then she righted herself and muttered, Bansho Tenin. Neji didn't know what was going on, but he was being pulled towards Hinata, who smirked, and when he got close, she whispered, Shinra Tensai. The resulting backlash of suddenly being sent flying caused a lot of damage to him, and it only increased when he impacted with the wall. Neji, however, was not one to go down so easily, so he got out of the indention in the wall that he had created, only to see Hinata there in the same pose as before when she muttered, 8 trigrams. 64 palms. Neji, however, was just moving about trying to dodge all of her strikes or knock them to the side, only for her to close all 64 chakra points that the jutsu allowed her to do. Hayate came up and almost declared Hinata the winner, only for Neji to get back up and say, I don't know how you are winning, but this fight is far from over. 8 trigrams. 128 palms. The result was Hinata on the ground unconscious. Thus Hayate declared Neji the winner. Naruto vanished in a blur of speed and appeared in front of Neji, whom was about to deliver the killing blow, and grabbed his hand in a burst of speed with his chakras skyrocketing in warning. You try and kill her and I will kill you, Naruto said with his Byakugan flaring to life in front of Neji's face. How do you have the all-seeing Byakugan? Neji asked in anger. Heh, one of my ancestors was a Hyuga. And you will not tell a soul about that being, as it is an S-rank secret. Naruto informed him before closing 3 vital chakra points in each arm that are needed for movement in the arms. Guy, having seen Neji get his chakra points closed by someone that is not known to be a Hyuga, was confused, as was everyone else who did not know about it, that is if they knew what had happened to Neji in the first place. This included Kurenai Yuhi, Asuma Sarutobi, Baki, Orochimaru, the 3 AIM Nin Junin senseis, and the single Iwa Junin sensei there. Then Naruto walked off with Hinata in his arms bridal style, and Sakura and Ino had their fight, which in of itself was embarrassing to watch because they took more time worrying about their looks than their careers as shinobi. They were slapping each other over who would marry Sasuke Uchiha, and Naruto could see him shivering in fright at the thought of him marrying either Sakura or Ino. When they decided that the winner there would marry Sasuke, Sasuke ran outside looking quite green, and Naruto heard barfing noises coming from the direction that Sasuke had gone to. The match lasted forever with no winner. Then it was Choji's match against Dosu Kinta. Dosu just used his melody arm to knock Choji out with some minor and moderate injuries, the most severe being busted eardrums. Then Sasuke came back in time for his match against Yoroi. Sasuke simply began the match by trying to use chakra, only for his cursed seal of heaven start to react due to his use of chakra, thus making Sasuke grunt in pain. Tiger right pointing arrow, monkey right pointing arrow, snake right pointing arrow, boar right pointing arrow, horse right pointing arrow, tiger. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Sasuke called out before breathing out a large stream of flames that hit Yoroi but didn't damage him, and he explained that his jutsu allowed him to absorb as much chakra as he wanted as long as he was touching them. Sasuke, after hearing this, deduced that to win this he couldn't use chakra, which was fine with him. He dashed forward, kicked Yoroi and jumped up and proceeded to do a series of kicks until finally Yoroi crashed into the ground, where Sasuke delivered a chakra-infused axe kick to the stomach, causing Yoroi to not only pass out, but also lose control over his body functions. The medics came and swept Yoroi away with a broomstick because they didn't want to touch him. The next match was Kiba Inuzuka vs Naruto. Yahoo! It's finally our turn, Akamaru. And look, we have, oh crap, Kiba stated after realizing just who it was he had to face off against. Naruto, seeing this, smirked before vanishing in a swirl of wind the size of a miniature tornado that lifted all the girls' shirts up with the gust of wind, showing who had a bra on and who didn't, minus Hinata's due to the face that she expected it and had her hands holding her shirt down to begin with. Kiba, who saw everything, promptly passed out with a nosebleed because he was a huge pervert, thus ending the match in Naruto's favor, whilst all the kunoichi in the room proceeded to beat some sense into Kiba via righteous female fury jutsu. They then proceeded to draw their numbers for the finals. 1. Because I am awesome, Naruto stated as he held up the word ichi. 2. Fate has decided that I face another weakling, Neji said in a monotone voice as he held up the word ni. 3. Troublesome, Shikamaru voiced his opinion as he turned the paper around to show the word san. 4. So I have to face a shadow user, Dosu stated as he showed Yan. 5. Whoever I face I will kill, Gaara stated as he showed Go. 6. Not good, Kakashi stated as he showed Roku for Sasuke. 7. I sense a feast for my bugs, Shino stated as he buzzed with excitement, showing the word shishi. 8. Crow is gonna have a blast, Kankuro stated as he showed the word Hachi. 9. And I'm the last one? What the hell? Tamari stated as she showed the word Q. As you have all guessed, the match setup will be Naruto Uzumaki vs Neji Hyuga, Shikamaru Nara vs Dosu Kinta. The winner of that match will fight Tamari of the Sand, Gaara of the Sand vs Sasuke Uchiha, and finally Shino Aburame vs Kankuro of the Sand. Hiruzen stated as he glanced at Naruto, silently telling him that Jiraiya was there to train him for the finals and to also train Hinata. After Naruto nodded at him slightly, the Hokage continued, now then, the finals will begin in a month and you have until then to gather your resources and train your butts off for the finals. That is all. Naruto then left towards the hot springs because, knowing his godfather, he was spying on the girls in the hot springs. It was the reason why Hinata never went to one anymore, because she found out that Jiraiya was a pervert who spied on girls at the hot springs and got away with it. Naruto then proceeded to weave hand signs. Horse right pointing arrow, boar right pointing arrow, dragon. Wind style. Great dragon of the north wind. Naruto whispered as he sent his jutsu at Jiraiya and caught him unaware, and somehow still remained stationary in the air enough to keep on spying on the girls in the hot springs. Jiraiya then landed on his head and he saw Naruto there and said that they were leaving the village for the month and that he could bring Hinata too. When Hinata arrived, Jiraiya told her and him to pack for the 1-month trip and that they would be traveling quickly. Naruto, Hinata, and Jiraiya arrived back in Konoha after having been training in Uzugakure no Sato. Naruto learned a lot more than Hinata did, only because Jiraiya focused more on him because he had a match in the finals and Hinata didn't, and promised to teach her more after the Chunin exams, with Naruto on guard for any perviness that he would have. They arrived at the Hokage Tower and Jiraiya reported that they were about high Anbu captain level to cage level at that moment, making the Hokage's eyes widen at that information. How are they that strong, Jiraiya? The Hokage asked. Shadow clones, sensei. Shadow clones and Fuinjutsu. What I just listed was them without them releasing their gravity seals, restrictor seals, and even their inhibitor seals. If they do release them, even I don't know how strong they're at that moment. I'd say about sulfur monoboride rank, give or take a rank. Jiraiya stated firmly, making the Hokage nearly have a heart attack. They haven't had a ninja that strong since Minato and Kushina. Naruto, promise me that you won't go too crazy on Neji during the exams. The Hokage said. Sorry Gigi. But the Hyuga lost that one the moment he tried to kill my fiancé. I will however go against him Hyuga style against Hyuga style. I might throw in some. In there when either A. I need a breather, or B. I don't want him getting a breather. Probably the latter. I won't use my, at all, or my, tenant unless I have to. Naruto stated as he vanished in a flash of yellow. Hirishin? How much does he know, Jiraiya? Hiruzen asked. A lot. The boy has all 5 affinities and he is able to combine them into the sub-elements. There are times when he makes even more than the sub-elements themselves, but they are rare. However, he is a master in fire, water, lightning, wind, and earth-style jutsus. I taught him as such during the time before he was put into his genin team. Jiraiya stated as he grinned at his sensei. The next day, Naruto awoke, took a shower, brushed his teeth, ate breakfast, got dressed, and ran off towards the stadium and arrived in time to fight Neji. Are you ready to lose, weakling? Neji asked. Are you ready to lose, wannabe? Naruto asked. Ready? Hayate asked, waiting as both Naruto and Neji activated the Byakugan and dropped into the gentle fist stance, making everyone there shocked except Hiruzen, Hinata, and Jiraiya. Begin, Hayate stated as he jumped back. Naruto dashed forward and became an instantaneous blur of motion as he began sealing off Neji's chakra points. Neji, feeling his chakra points being sealed, tried to put a little distance between himself and Naruto, only for Naruto's eyes to change into the Rinnegan, and he said, Banshotanen. Neji was pulled into Naruto once more as Naruto's eyes changed back into the Byakugan and he continued his assault on Neji. Soon enough, using this combination, he sealed all 361 of Neji's chakra points, making him the winner by default. Naruto then returned his eyes to normal and walked up the side of the building and went into the competitor's box. What a drag. You are troublesome, you know that? Shikamaru asked. Yeah, I know. What I don't know is, where's Sasuke? Naruto asked, feeling a bit sore that his teammate wasn't there to see him win. With Sasuke was trying to leave, but he kept having to dodge everything except, well, there went his kitchen sink. Sasuke was pissed because he was positive that the evil mastermind behind it was his stuffed bunny, Mr. Fluffykins. Back with the same people. Due to the delay, the match between Sasuke Uchiha and Gaara no Sabaku is being postponed to being the last match. Now then, Shikamaru Nara of Konoha and Tamari no Sabaku of Suna, please come down to the arena. Hayate called out, and Tamari, being the attention lover that she was, hopped on her fan and used wind manipulation to fly down to the stadium floor. Shikamaru, though, was pushed over the rail as he was about to forfeit, by Choji of all people. Soon the match was underway and Naruto, having a bad feeling, activated his Byakugan and looked towards the gates and saw an army composed of sound and sand ninjas. He then looked to the cage box and saw that something was off about the cage. So he went ahead and activated his Rinnegan and saw underneath the disguise was Orochimaru. He sighed and went to look for Jiraiya, finding him behind a few Anbu in the stadium. What is it, Naruto? Jiraiya asked. There's a snake hanging with a monkey in the box of shadows. Naruto stated firmly. Jiraiya's eyes widened before nodding and vanishing to the cage box. Cage box. Sir, Jiraiya-sama wishes to speak with you. An Anbu informed the cage of the Hidden Leaf Village. Hiruzen sighed before getting and leaving, but not before the cage raised an eyebrow at the Hokage's sudden leaving. What is it, Jiraiya? You've made me look like an impolite jerk to the cage, the cage of the Hidden Leaf Village asked. Orochimaru is the one beside you, not the cage. In fact, knowing Orochimaru, the cage is dead and has been for a few months now. Jiraiya informed him. The cage of the Hidden Leaf Village nodded and sat down next to the cage of the Hidden Sand Village. With Sasuke. Sasuke was holding a scythe as he was trying to scoot across the floor cause he found out that as long as he didn't leave his bed then nothing would attack him. He was almost to his door when he felt something collide with his skull and looked and saw the kitchen sink from earlier. He growled before grabbing his head and pulled it away to find no blood. He growled even further before running through a few hand signs. Snake, ram, monkey, boar, horse, tiger. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Sasuke shouted as he breathed out a continuous flame to set his house on fire as he smiled and vanished and appeared at Training Ground 7 right at the same time Kakashi did, and then Kakashi preformed the Shunshin no Jutsu to teleport them to the stadium right as Hayate shouted, 1. Sorry, are we late? Kakashi asked. Yes, you were. Hayate said as Naruto face planted and groaned, knowing that no matter how much training Sasuke had there was no way he could take Gaara on being as he was a Jinchuriki. Naruto then decided to discuss something that was on his mind with Kurama. So what do you want, fledgling? Kurama asked. Why do I only have half of your chakra, Kurama? Who has the other half? Naruto asked. It's inside of your father, Minato Namikaze. You see, he sealed half of my chakra inside of himself using Reaper Death Seal, and he sealed the other half inside of you using the 8 trigram seal, Kurama told him. I see, that is very interesting. In face it makes me want to figure out who makes my paths. Naruto pondered. If I may make a suggestion. Let's start with Diva. You will need to unseal and reseal my other half inside of yourself and then make your father the Diva path. Next is Preta, which I suggest the third Raikage. This would be beneficial being as rumor has it is that he stood toe to toe against Gyuki, he 8 tails. For Asura I suggest, Hanzo the Salamander. Since he defeated all of the 3 Sannin simultaneously whilst they were in their prime, he would be beneficial to us. You are the outer path so we don't have to worry about that. Human path. I would suggest Hashirama Senju, otherwise known as the first Hokage. The animal path is someone with a lot of chakra, so I suggest Tobirama Senju, also known as the second Hokage. Lastly is the Naraka path. I suggest either the second Mizukage or the second Tsuchikage. For your mate, Kurama inputted. I'm gonna stop you there, Kurama. You make good suggestions, but the ones that Hinaheim chooses to make her paths are for her to know and for me to find out. Naruto said and awoke to see the stadium in chaos. Naruto looks to Hinata and silently they discuss a plan. Soon they nodded and vanished. Naruto appeared outside the barrier and smirked and activated his Rinnegan and said, Preta path. Soon the barrier wavered before a hole appeared and Naruto stepped in and vanished in a blur of yellow motion. The yellow is his hair. Orochimaru has just summoned the coffins for the first Hokage, second Hokage, and fourth Hokage. Until they vanished and behind the current cage of the Hidden Leaf Village and Jiraiya. I'm gonna need a bit of time, Naruto said looking serious. Jiraiya nodded and attacked Orochimaru with Hiruzen backing him up. Naruto released the seals on him and proceeded to create his paths so fast that his arms vanished from even Orochimaru's, Jiraiya's, and Hiruzen's perspective. Soon the 2 Sannin in cage felt a surge of demonic chakra and it felt very familiar. Naruto, what are you doing? Hiruzen asked, releasing half of Kurama from its seal inside of my father and sealing it inside of me with its other half. Then I'm gonna make these 3 my paths. Now if you will excuse me, this takes a lot of concentration to do. Naruto stated firmly before returning his attention to the demonic chakra coming from the body of Minato Namikaze. Soon he had not only the other half of Kurama inside of him, but also made the 3 cage his paths by sticking an earring on each of them with a seal on each of them. I do not take credit for this one. Rasenshire 1 Ken is the one responsible. They then arose and opened their eyes to show the Rinnegan blazing in each socket. Now then I have my diva, human, and animal paths. Naruto said. Hiruzen? You have gotten old. Hashirama said, making their eyes widen. Well, didn't see that coming. Naruto muttered. Jiraiya and Hiruzen both looked at Naruto and his paths with great surprise. Naruto had revived the first, second, and fourth Hokages not only as his paths but as a true resurrection. They were in their prime and they had their personalities and free will because they were alive once more, but they Naruto's paths so they had to do what he wanted them to do. Quickly, as if sensing some untold order told them to attack, the first Hokage launched his wood-styled jutsu on Orochimaru, blasting him towards the second Hokage, whom had used his speed to get into position. The second Hokage used his water-style ninjutsu to blast him towards the fourth Hokage, whom had used body flicker jutsu to appear in position and used a Rasengan, launching him to Naruto, who used fire-style, great fire annihilation at him. Orochimaru, though being the crafty asshole that he was, substituted with a clump of mud and got away. Naruto swore and jumped down and headed to the forest where he sensed Hinata was at. Naruto-kun, that boy, Gaara, is transforming into the Shukaku, need backup. It will look suspicious if I take him down on my own. Hinata told him through their telepathic link that they shared. Naruto sent an okay and told his paths to head to the Namikaze mansion and to not be seen. He then focused chakra into his legs to increase his speed. The result, vanishing. He arrived next to her a few moments later. They looked at each other, silently developing a plan, before nodding, and Naruto shouted, "Fire style, great fire annihilation," and Hinata shouting, "Wind style, great dragon of the north wind." The resulting spiraling dragon made of flames and multiple invisible blades of wind had everyone in awe of it as it struck Shukaku and turned the entire body into glass. Naruto then vanished and appeared in front of Gaara with his hand pulled back, and then he launched it forward in a thunderous punch. Shukaku, seeing as his host was waking up, vanished with wine, and Naruto looked at Hinata and smiled at her. "How did you two take it out when I couldn't?" Sasuke shouted at them. "Simple Sasuke? He is a Jinchuriki. Jinchuriki are war deterrents as well as powerful weapons. Jinchuriki have at least some form of aid from their tailed beast. He contains the weakest of the tailed beasts, the one-tailed tanuki, Shukaku. Hinata and I share the strongest of the nine-tailed beasts, the nine-tailed fox, Kurama. We are able to do this because she is my mate," Naruto told him. "And before you begin to judge, we are not the demons we contain, but we are ourselves, just we contain them. We are who we always have been. I'm still Hinata of Squad 8, and Naruto is still Naruto of Squad 7. And Gaara is still the little brother of Tamari no Sabaku and Kankuro no Sabaku," Hinata said to him. At that moment Tamari and Kankuro decided to show up. When it was apparent that they intended to fight, Gaara of all people said that it was enough. As such, Tamari and Kankuro were surprised and amazed that Gaara had enough. They then picked up their little brother and left. When they arrived back to Konohagakure, they immediately went to the Hokage's office to report that Gaara had surrendered and that they saw fit for his siblings to leave with him. When they arrived at the Hokage tower, they saw that Hiruzen was paler than usual, but looked a lot prouder than usual. "Ah, Naruto, Hinata, please, do sit down," Hiruzen said. Naruto and Hinata glanced at one another before taking a seat. "Now then, I have a mission for the two of you, but before that I would like to inform you of the promotions we have from the Chunin exams. Hinata, you are now a Chunin of Konoha. Shikamaru Nara is also a Chunin, but I'll give him his vest tomorrow. Naruto, you are now a Chunin of Konoha, wear these vests with pride and honor." The third Kage of the Hidden Leaf Village said. They bowed before Hiruzen said, "Now then Naruto, according to Jiraiya you can now defend yourself from not only your father's enemies, but his, your mother's, and anyone else who would come after you, so it is my great pleasure to inform you that your heritage will be made public tomorrow, and I would like your father to be there." Naruto shrugged his shoulders before saying, "That's fine. I was gonna leave him here anyway." Hiruzen nodded before also saying, "Now then, Hinata, I believe you used different abilities other than your Byakugan in your fight against your cousin, mind telling me how? Because like Naruto-kun, I also have 3 different dojutsus due to the fact of me being his mate. I just used the Rinnegan against him," Hinata said. "Isn't that what allowed you to turn the first, second, and fourth Hokages into your paths?" Hiruzen asked Naruto. Naruto merely nodded his head before Hiruzen asked, "Well Hinata, is there anyone you would like to have as your paths?" "Yes, I would like Mito Uzumaki and Kushina Uzumaki as my diva and Asura paths," Hinata said with determination. Hiruzen looked shocked at her answer before nodding and said, "We'll see what we can do about that. Now then, unto your mission, which is an A-rank mission with Jiraiya escorting the two of you. Your mission is to find one Tsunade Senju and bring her back here to Konoha to become the next Hokage. Jiraiya will meet you two at the hot springs," Hiruzen stated firmly. Naruto and Hinata both nodded and vanished in a swirl of flames and water, making Hiruzen comfortable, but ruining the paperwork on his desk. Clan District. Naruto and Hinata separated and Hinata walked in wearing her Chunin vest, which immediately grabbed her father's attention, and he said that the clan was going to have a celebration in honor of his daughter achieving the rank of Chunin that night, and Hinata said that she couldn't attend due to going on an A-rank mission along with Naruto and Jiraiya of the Sannin to find Tsunade Senju of the Sannin. When Hiyashi heard this, he smiled and said that they would postpone the celebration until she returned from her mission. However, he would inform the clan of her accomplishment. He also asked if Naruto was promoted as well, in which she replied that he was. Hiyashi smiled fondly and said that she was to invite him over to the celebration, for it would be a party to celebrate both of their promotions. Hinata nodded and quickly packed her bags and left, headed for the Namikaze mansion. Naruto was just leaving when she walked up, and together they headed for the hot springs. Training Ground 26. Sasuke was seriously pissed. He couldn't even scratch Gaara when he was half transformed, and then Naruto and Hinata both take him out easily, using SSS-ranked jutsus like it was nothing out of the ordinary. To him, he thought that power should be his so that he could kill his brother. He charged chakra into his hand as the sounds of birds chirping filled the air. He rushed towards a rock and impaled his hand into it, screaming, "Chidori!" Kakashi watched Sasuke work out his anger through training and was highly amused. There was pretty much nothing he could do to help him except when Sasuke was trained enough to teach him his twin lightning shiver jutsu, but he was a long ways away from learning that jutsu. After all, it was his ace in the hole should he ever encounter a member of the Akatsuki. He had known about them since before the Genin graduation exam from Jiraiya. It was the reason he asked for Naruto to be on his team, besides the fact that he was his sensei's son. He wanted to protect him, however, due to what he had seen so far. Naruto didn't need any protection at all. Then he heard his other student. "Grr, where the hell is that baka? He's wasting Sasuke-kun's time by being late. Even Kakashi-sensei is here before him." Sakura yelled. "Actually, Sakura, Naruto received a mission from Lord Hokage." Kakashi said. "Then shouldn't we be with him?" Sakura continued to yell. "Well, no, considering he outranks 6 out of 9 of the genin." Kakashi said as he let that information sink in. "What? That baka got promoted before Sasuke-kun? The council will hear about this and they will strip him of his wrongfully earned promotion and give it to its rightful owner, Sasuke-kun." Sakura screamed in anger. Sasuke's anger reached a whole new level. He was no longer pissed, he was livid. He charged another Chidori into his hand and dashed at a tree before stopping mid-dash and leapt to the side before jumping and twisted in midair before slamming his lightning-covered hand into the tree and continued onwards with the Chidori still in his hand and slowly gaining power. Kakashi's eye widened at that, because if Sasuke continued to subconsciously add more chakra to his Chidori, it would no longer be considered the Chidori but instead his trademark jutsu. Reikuri. Reikuri was basically a super-powered Chidori with more chakra, more speed, more force, and more resilience involved into the equation. It was why it went Chidori then Reikuri. His twin lightning shiver jutsu involved the continuous use of Reikuri, extreme amounts of speed far surpassing that of the Reikuri, and forming temporary chakra platforms in the air to bounce off of to get higher, and he literally tears through his opponent each time, and as he is a total of 100 stories in the air, he throws himself downward and delivers the finishing blow, literally leaving nothing left of the opponent in a second and a half. However, he knew that Sasuke was not ready for the Reikuri yet, so he grabbed his arm and threw him into another tree only for him to right himself and slam his arm through the tree he was launched at. "Grr. What the hell KAKAHSI? Sasuke yelled at him. 1. You were using too much chakra, and if you had continued the way you were you could have killed yourself, and 2. It's sensei until you achieve the Chunin rank like Naruto, Hinata, or even Shikamaru." Kakashi said in a serious tone, making everyone there know he meant business. "TCH, I could have handled it. I figured out that to form a Reikuri like you do, I needed to put more chakra into the Chidori." Sasuke said in a know-it-all fashion. "Wrong. To form a Reikuri, you must put more chakra into the Chidori, but you must also be able to handle the speed in which you need to move it to utilize it, which is roughly 10 to 20 times faster than needed for the Chidori. There is also the problem about speed which you need to train your body for, which takes There is also the problem about speed, which you need to train your body for, which takes years if not months to accomplish unless you know how Naruto got so fast. Then there is the problem with the fact that your Sharingan is only at 2 Tomo, which means you won't be able to handle the tunnel vision effect. Then there is the fact that you need more force behind the Reikiri, and that takes even more years or months to accomplish depending on whether or not you are a genius or not. The only exception would be Naruto's style of training. I wouldn't doubt it if he is anywhere near 100,000 times faster than needed for the Reikiri. And no, you don't have enough chakra to pull it off more than once. You have just enough chakra to pull it off once and then you're a sitting duck. Kakashi said firmly to Sasuke. Sasuke simply shrugged his shoulders and said, then I'll make sure that I hit my target with it. Before charging another Chidori into his hand whilst Sakura crooned on how cool he was. Kakashi sighed before walking over to a tree and sat down before pulling out his Icha Icha Paradise and began to read. Training Ground 27. Kurenai showed up for the daily training and said, alright, Kiba and Shino, start sparring. But Kurenai-sensei, Hinata hasn't shown up yet. Kiba whined to her. Well, she won't show up for at least a month due to the fact that she is on a mission. Kurenai said, excuse me sensei, but if she is on a mission then we should be with her. Why? Because we are her teammates. Shino said, no, and you're not her teammates anymore. Hinata was recently promoted to Chunin. Kurenai said happily. Alright Hinata. Kiba cheered. Indeed, Shino said as he silently cheered for his former teammate in his own way. Training Ground 46. Asuma was playing shogi with Shikamaru whilst Ino and Choji were sparring. Then an Anbu appeared and said, Shikamaru Nara? Shikamaru looked up and said, yeah? By order of the Hokage, you have been promoted to Chunin rank, congratulations. The Anbu said. Everyone cheered for Shikamaru whilst his face paled and he muttered, troublesome. In Sanagakure no Sato, Tamari no Sabaku was standing in front of the council as they said, Tamari no Sabaku, do you know why you are here before us? Because I grabbed Gaara and left headed towards here? Tamari ventured a guess. No, you are here before us due to the fact that you, Kankuro, and Gaara were mature enough to inform us of the Cage's death when you learned of it. For that maturity we the council hereby promote you, Tamari no Sabaku, to Chunin. The council member stated. Tamari bowed her head in humility. Kankuro no Sabaku. Do you know why you are here before us? A different council member asked. No, I do not. Kankuro said. For showing prodigious skills in the puppet master jutsu as reported by Lady Chiyo when she was there in Konoha. We the council hereby promote you to Chunin. The same council member stated. Kankuro smiled gratefully. Gaara no Sabaku, what did you make in Konoha? Another council member asked. A friend? Gaara asked. Correct, and according to the third Hokage, he is a member of 5 different clans there and a member of 4 endangered clans. For having the foresight to befriend him the council has decided to hereby name you, Gaara no Sabaku, as a Chunin of Sanagakure no Sato. Here are your Chunin vests. Wear them with pride, the council member informed them. On the road, Naruto and Hinata were walking alongside Jiraiya looking for his teammate, Tsunade Senju, who was 54 and looked like she was in her 30s. Jiraiya was busy teaching Hinata other elemental manipulation exercises other than her original water manipulation and simply was beginning to teach Naruto how to pop a water balloon using only his chakra. Jiraiya explained this to be the first step in a jutsu his father created. A jutsu called the Rasengan. To be able to pass the time, Naruto didn't even use his dojutsus to automatically learn how to pop the balloon with just his chakra, he decided to do it all on his own. He would occasionally switch between trying to pop the water balloon to giving Hinata advice on her nature manipulation. 3 weeks later, with Naruto's assistance, Hinata learned how to use lightning and wind manipulation. Through his stubbornness to learn one of his father's jutsus, Naruto nearly mastered the 3rd step, which was using an air balloon to achieve the control needed to house the spin and the power behind the A-rank jutsu. He knew that if it exploded he was using too little control, but if it deflated even a little bit, then he knew he was using too much. The whole jutsu was about a balance between the 3 steps. The first step was about the rotation of the chakra in multiple directions, which was shown by the water in the water balloon. The second step was power, in which he had to increase the speed in which the chakra was spinning. This was shown to be an accomplishment if the rubber ball he was using exploded from the force used. The third and final step was about containment because it would be a waste if he didn't contain it. That and Jiraiya showed Naruto the difference in power when the Rasengan was stopped at the second step and when it was completed. When it was stopped at the second step, it put a giant dent in a large tree. When it was completed, the Rasengan utterly destroyed the tree. However, Naruto was a little stuck on the third step because no matter how hard he tried, it always popped or deflated. Jiraiya told him that to complete it one must first combine the first two steps together, then add the barrier, for lack of a better word, around it. When they arrived at Tanzaku town, they saw that there was a giant hole in the wall around a palace. Naruto sent out an advanced form of chakra pulse that layered out the entire town, and he found that Orochimaru had been there and that Tsunade had been in contact with him and the traitorous bastard Kabuto. He also sensed her in a bar about 20 minutes away, although she was trying to hide her chakra. The slug is having a drink and has been in contact with the snake, Naruto said. Jiraiya nodded before they entered the nearest bar, and when he looked around he ran over to a busty blonde and yelled, "Tsunade!" Naruto and Hinata simply face-palmed themselves at his antics as Tsunade said, "Jiraiya? What are you doing here?" "Oh, I was looking for you. Sensei has named you as his successor for the position of Hokage." Jiraiya informed her. "Pass," Tsunade said. "Sorry lady, but you don't get a choice in the matter." Naruto said. Who is this Jiraiya? Another student? He's not as well-mannered as your last one, but he does look similar." Tsunade said. "There's a reason for that. However, by order of the Sandaime Hokage, you are to return to Konohagakure no Sato." Naruto said. "Like I said, I'll pass. I don't want that fool's job," Tsunade said. Just then Naruto spied the wording on her jacket. "Tell you what, how about a bet?" Naruto asked. Tsunade raised her eyebrow. "I'm listening. If I can make you take me seriously for even a second, then you have to return with me to become Hokage," Naruto said. "And give me a lap dance," Jiraiya suggested. "No," Naruto said. "Sounds interesting and I win. You pay off all of my debts and pay my sake bills for an entire year," Tsunade said. "Deal," Naruto said as they shook on it and headed outside. In the alleyway behind the bar, Naruto got into his taijutsu stance that Tsunade immediately recognized. "That's my grandmother's taijutsu stance. How does he know the Crimson Whirlpool taijutsu style?" Tsunade thought. "Tell you what, I'll limit myself to 2 different bloodlines, 2 different taijutsu styles, and 5 different jutsus. Sound good?" Naruto asked. "With arrogance like that I'll match you. I will only take you on with a finger. If I use more than that then you win the bet," Tsunade said. "Good," Naruto said as his eyes flashed to the Byakugan and the Sharingan. "Oh shit," Tsunade thought before he vanished and was upon her with a roundhouse kick in mid-motion only for her to block it with her index finger. The sheer force of the collision forced them both back several feet. "Holy fuck, I might have to take this seriously," Tsunade thought. Dragon, bird, hare, monkey, snake, horse, boar. Earth style. Sneaking, power-hungry piranha, Naruto shouted. Tsunade looked confused before she felt the ground begin to make her sink, and she looked down to see that the ground was consuming her. Tiger. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Naruto shouted before exhaling a ball of flames. Tsunade poked the ground in front of the sinkhole Naruto created and not only forced herself up out of it, but also made a chunk of earth shield her from the jutsu. The downside of doing this was that her pants tore and her panties were showing. Tsunade immediately blushed in embarrassment and anger, and Naruto smirked whilst Jiraiya was being his usual perverted self. Naruto quickly ran through more hand signs. Tiger, dragon, monkey, dragon, boar, rat. Lightning style. Lightning, thunder, heart jutsu. Naruto shouted before he punched the air and sent a tiger made of lightning charging at Tsunade, whom simply dodged it only to see Naruto in front of her. Wind style. Drilling air bullets. Naruto shouted before sending the jutsu at her. Tsunade quickly dodged once more before poking the ground and sending a chunk of rock at Naruto, who smirked and quickly ran through hand signs once more. Bird dog? The are technique-specific hand signs that Naruto Wikia does not tell what they are, therefore. I do not know, however I do know that one of them is the left hand cupping the right hand with the right hand doing a thumbs up. Weird hand sign if I do say so myself. Water style. Explosive bite of the water dragon. Naruto shouted as he sent a S-rank jutsu at the chunk of rock which blasted through the rock and went towards Tsunade, whom quickly leapt over a wall and then kicked a large portion of the wall at Naruto. Naruto on the other hand dodged that and changed his eyes to the Byakugan and got up real nice and close to Tsunade and began closing off her tenketsus, thus rendering her taijutsu style useless. Tsunade's eyes widened at the realization that he was using the gentle fist style and quickly dodged him before punching him in the face, sending him flying. Well, it seems that you made me take you seriously at that moment. Tsunade bluffed, thinking, who the hell am I kidding? I was taking him seriously from the start when he surprised me with his speed, and even then I refused to more than one finger until he began to close my chakra points, and even then by the time I reacted he closed over 1/8 of my chakra points. Just then she heard a whirling sound and turned to see Naruto wielding what was obviously an incomplete Rasengan, which meant it was obviously not meant to kill her. However, she knew firsthand that if she got hit with that, even if it was incomplete, it would hurt like hell, so she prepared herself, and when Naruto was within distance she grabbed his arm and threw him through a wall. Jiraiya, only 2 people left alive know that jutsu, and those are you and Kakashi Hitaki, so tell me, who is attempting to teach this boy the Rasengan? Tsunade asked. That would be me, being as it is his birthright. Jiraiya said. He isn't supposed to know about that until he can defend himself against his father's enemies, you idiot. Tsunade shouted at him. He already does know about it, and he can defend himself against his father's enemies. He's weighed down by gravity seals and the like, that it would have been annihilation for you if he had released them. Jiraiya said. Tsunade's eyes widened at that information and stared at the unconscious Naruto in wonder. How is he stuck on it then? Tsunade asked. Well, I think it is because the Rasengan is a jutsu derived from chakra control only, so it is the epitome of shape manipulation. Since he is the Jinchuriki for the 9-tailed fox. Don't worry, she knows about it. Chakra control is a bit of a rough spot for Naruto, even if he does have perfect chakra control. I surmise that due to the months I have been away from him, his chakra has increased, and due to that, his chakra control has suffered. The problem is, this is one of the only thing left in chakra control I have left. Jiraiya said. Tsunade nodded in acknowledgement at his reply. Oh, and just so you know, Naruto went easy on you. That, and I don't have a student, I have 2 students. Meet Hinata Hyuga, or as she tells me, the future Mrs. Namikaze. Jiraiya said to her. Tsunade's eyes widened at that information before looking at Jiraiya questioningly. You noticed that he used all 5 elements, right? Well, he has mastered all the way up to SSS rank jutsus with each and every one of them, and is in the process of combining the elements to create the sub-elements. Jiraiya said. Tsunade's eyes widened as she shouted, just how the hell isn't he a Chunin yet then? Cause he doesn't want to be a Chunin. He is currently the strongest Chunin the Leaf Village has followed closely, and dangerously close at that, by Hinata here. Jiraiya said. That doesn't make any sense. He should be at least cage level right now, and he's a Chunin? Tsunade asked. And he will only get stronger still, Tsunade. Jiraiya said with a smile. Tsunade felt a little dizzy at that information before she said, alright, a deal's a deal. I'll be the 5th Hokage now, but I want some help to do something first. Don't worry, we'll help you take down Orochimaru. Ah, Naruto, how soon do you think you can get your diva, human, and animal paths over here? Jiraiya asked. Well, being as these earrings have a Hiraishin seal on them coupled with another more complex spacetime nen, fuinjutsu, then, about 4 seconds. Why? Naruto asked. Well, I think it's about time we give Orochimaru the surprise of his life. Jiraiya said with an evil grin that looked wrong on his face somehow. 1 week later, Tsunade showed up with Shizune in an alleyway, and they waited for Orochimaru, silently going over the plan in their heads. Flashback. Jiraiya looked at Tsunade and said, we'll be nearby and await for you to give us the signal. And what is the signal, pray tell? Tsunade asked. You flash your tits, Jiraiya said. Naruto got a tick mark before bonking Jiraiya on the head, followed closely by Tsunade and Hinata. How about when you begin to attack, we'll step in and bring in our assistance? Naruto suggested. Tsunade thought about before shaking her head. No, because the few seconds it would take you could mean a matter of life and death. How about this? I take Shizune with me. When I begin to attack, Shizune backs me up until you 3 get there, and then we attack together. Sound good? Tsunade suggested in a thoughtful tone. I think that would be best. Hinata said in a shy fashion due to Naruto having just gotten done with a shower, and for the sake of self-preservation he only had on his pants, leaving his muscles showing to the Hyuga heiress. End flashback. When Orochimaru arrived he looked and asked, "So Tsunade, have you accepted my generous offer?" "I have accepted an offer, however, as the newly appointed 5th Hokage of Konoha, die," Tsunade declared before dashing at Orochimaru and nailed him in the face as Kabuto tried to attack her. Shizune stepped in and kicked him in the head using Tsunade's super strength technique. They were slowly joined by Jiraiya, Naruto, and Hinata, and they went after them, with Orochimaru and Kabuto in a clearing. Orochimaru and Kabuto were slowly recovering until they heard 5 sets of feet hit the ground across from them. When they looked up they saw Tsunade, Shizune, Jiraiya, Naruto, and Hinata there. Whereas Orochimaru paled at the sight of Naruto, Kabuto scoffed. "I still do not see why you are scared of him, Lord Orochimaru. I mean, he was the dead last in the academy. The only notable jutsu he is able to use is the Shadow Clone Jutsu, and while it is a very useful technique in its own right, there is still no way he could use a SSS rank fire-style jutsu," Kabuto said arrogantly. "I got 4 eyes. Hinaheim back me up. Ba-chan and Ero Sanin. You guys take on creepy snake pedophile rapist man? Shizune nay, you deal damage where you can," Naruto said. "Please Naruto, you couldn't even land a hit on me. I'm as strong as Kakashi Hitaki, the copy ninja. An A-rank Junin. You're just a genin," Kabuto said in an off-handed manner. "There are 3 things wrong with your statement, traitor. 1. I'm a Chunin. 2. Kakashi-sensei is a S-rank Junin. And 3. Hey, I'll land more than a hit on you," Naruto said as he put his hands in a tiger seal. Gravity seal. Release. Restrictor seal. Release. Inhibitor seal. Release. Naruto shouted and the ground caved in under the sheer force of his chakra, which had formed an aura around him, and he vanished from his spot. He reappeared behind Kabuto with his hands already in the tiger seal. Fire style. Great fire annihilation. Naruto shouted as he released a torrent of white-hot flames at Kabuto, who dodged only to meet Hinata, who had her hands in an unknown hand sign. Water style. Explosive bite of the water dragon. Hinata shouted. Dozens of water bullet jutsus went off at Kabuto, who dodged them as best he could before he eventually stared at a massive water dragon jutsu that left him nowhere to dodge, and he was already soaked and damaged pretty badly. If he got hit by this he would have a hard time healing from the damage, so did the only thing left to him at the moment. He used a substitution jutsu and substituted himself with a log with an explosive tag on it. Then he heard 3 pops. When he looked his eyes shrunk in fear and he lost control of his bowels and bladder. He was looking at the Yondaime Hokage, Shodem Hokage, and Niodame Hokage. All with a Rinnegan and with earrings similar to Naruto's. "Hey, now then, allow me to show you true terror," Naruto shouted as he smirked before running through hand signs faster than anyone that wasn't a Sulfur Mono Boride rank ninja with a Sharingan could keep up with. Tiger, dragon, bird, snake, monkey, ox, rat, hare, dog, sheep, boar, tiger. Wind style. Great exploding breakthrough of the 4 winds. Naruto shouted before exhaling a massive gust of wind so strong that it lifted Kabuto off of his feet and sent him towards Hashirama, who had his hands in the snake hand sign, and he said, "Wood style. Deep forest emergence." Then a massive tree arose and trapped Kabuto there. Then Tobirama showed up in front of Kabuto before smirking before he attached a seal formula unto him. Then in a flash of yellow, Minato was in front of him with a Rasengan in his hand, and he smashed it into Kabuto's stomach, drilling him into the massive tree. Then Naruto used his Shadow Clone Jutsu to make 4 more of him. They then ran through hand signs. Sheep horse. Fire style. Great fire annihilation. Naruto shouted. Sheep horse tiger dragon. Earth style. Great dragon of infinite sorrow. A shadow clone shouted. Monkey dragon snake horse sheep boar dog dragon. Lightning style. Great dragon of infinite thunder, another one shouted. Another shadow clone ran through 54 hand signs so quickly that his arms vanished. Water style. Giant explosive bite of the infinite number of water dragons. Horse boar dragon. Wind style. Great dragon of the north wind, the least shadow clone shouted. The jutsus converged in upon Kabuto, whom was still trapped in Hashirama's deep forest emergence, and then utterly destroyed him. Orochimaru, seeing his right-hand man utterly annihilated like that, hissed in anger before rushing towards him, only to have Tsunade and Jiraiya intercept him, and Jiraiya used a Rasengan on him and Tsunade used a chakra Inkazed fist on his skull. The only reason Orochimaru survived was because he used a substitution with a mud clone he had nearby. He also grabbed the dead Kabuto and then he sunk into the ground. Naruto smirked before slumping over and panted a little. Hinata immediately comforted him because he just took a life. However, they knew that even death would not keep Kabuto at bay. Neji was training with the strongest Hyuga in the compound, Hiashi Hyuga. Ever since he had agreed to let Hinata move out on her own, he had become the strongest Hyuga in the compound. Hiashi was training him in the 8 trigrams, 361 palms. It was a taijutsu technique that sealed off every chakra point in the body. Once the technique was completed, it would kill the opponent. When they were taking a breather, Neji asked, "Hiashi-sama, where did Hinata-sama say she was going to stay at?" She said that she would be staying at the Namikaze compound because she heard from their master, Jiraiya of the Sannin, that he was going to take Naruto for a 3-year training trip. She wanted to both surprise him and learn from their scrolls while he is away. Luckily, Hinata has been cued into the sealing matrix around the compound for a good 5 months now. Hiashi said, smiling. "I see," Neji said before finishing his tea. Flashback. Release. Flashback. Choji. Choji was with Ino helping her shop. He had finally gotten her to go out on a date with him, and so he was going to do his best to be a good guy for her. They had just gotten done clothes shopping, in which Ino, being the innocent seducer she was, posed in the clothes she picked out, asking Choji for his opinion only for him to be speechless and give her the thumbs up every time. That annoyed Ino to no end until she realized that he thought she looked good in anything. That thought made her smile kindly and exited, paid for her clothes, and then they went to get something to eat. They decided on the barbecue restaurant that their team eats at all the time. Once there, Choji ordered a medium-sized helping for him and Ino ordered a small helping, trying to maintain her figure, only for Choji to override her, saying that she would take a medium-sized helping like him, and then proceeded to tell her that he would help her maintain her figure by helping her work out. Ino scoffed at that, only for Choji to smile at her and said that if he could help her maintain her figure, then she could do whatever she wanted with him. Ino looked at him and smiled in an evil fashion before nodding. Flashback. Release. Flashback. Kiba. Kiba was watching the Hyuga compound, trying to figure how to admit to Hinata that he was in love with her. He tried the direct approach, the subtle approach, the hinting approach, even the seducing approach. None of them worked in his head. They all ended in him not getting an answer. He decided to go to someone for some help. He didn't care if she was engaged. He didn't care if she had a boyfriend. He didn't care if her father had approved of them. He just didn't care. What he didn't know was that earlier, Hinata had packed her bags and moved in next door. He decided to get advice from the one person he knew would help, Kurenai Yuhi. Flashback. Release. Flashback. Shikamaru. Shikamaru stepped into the communications department and looked around to make sure he was alone, and tied a message to a messenger hawk and told it, "Get this message to Tamari no Sabaku quickly." Then he sent it off. Flashback. Release. Flashback. Naruto. Naruto had been out since early morning and was practicing the Rasengan, trying to stabilize it at step 3. That way he'd have another fully functional A-rank jutsu under his belt. That was until he felt Hinata's chakra signature enter his compound. Growing curious, he walked inside and saw Hinata there with her bags. "What are you doing here with your bags?" Naruto asked. "Father told me to move in with you, and so I am," Hinata told him. Naruto's eyes widened at that and grinned happily before running into the kitchen, where Hinata could hear multiple bangs, and even an explosion, making her worry for her fiancé until he returned with a few snacks and even 2 cups of tea. "Here we are," Naruto said, handing her the snacks and a cup of tea and taking a cup for himself. Naruto, why did you give me some snacks?" Hinata asked. "Well, to be honest, you looked hungry, but not hungry enough for a meal, so I brought you some grapes. And I intend to feed them to you when you finish your tea," Naruto said with a grin that melted her heart. Just then an Anbu came up and said, "Namikaze-sama. Hokage-sama wishes for your presence." Naruto nodded before taking off, but not before promising Hinata that he would feed her the grapes next time. When he arrived, Tsunade informed him that Sasuke Uchiha had defected from the village and he was to bring him back and that the use of force was allowed. He nodded and left to find Shikamaru, whom he found leaving the communications department. Weird. They then left to find Kiba, whom they found asking Kurenai for love advice, which Naruto glared at him for, knowing that it was about Hinata that he was asking the advice for. Then they split up and found Choji, who was leaving a barbecue restaurant with Ino, and they told them of the story, which Ino grew furious over them, saying Sasuke would do something like that and that Choji wasn't gonna keep his promise. When Choji explained what promise she was talking about, Naruto stepped in by telling her to go to the Namikaze compound and there she would find someone to keep her in shape if she would explain the situation to them. Ino looked suspicious before shrugging her shoulders and began to head that way. They then went to Neji, whom they saw running towards them, saying that with the Byakugan he read their lips and knew that they were gonna look for him next, so he decided to meet with them. They then left for the gates heading towards the Valley of the End. Flashback. Release. They arrived near a clearing where Neji measured their skill set using his Byakugan and said that they each had a cursed seal and that their chakra reserves were Chunin levels. Naruto smirked in victory whilst everyone else was pale. They decided to circumnavigate the area to get a better idea to see how they would go about this. What none of them realized was that they were stepping on strings of web hooked to a six-armed male's fingers. The six-armed male subtly signaled the other three in the area that there were 5 trespassers. "Come on out, assholes," the lone female of the group shouted out. To Yuya, "That kind of language is unbefitting a woman." Jirobo said, "Shut the fucking hell up, fat ass." To Yuya shouted at him, "Seriously, why did Orochimaru want her anyway? He already had Karen and they're from the same clan. If I remember correctly, it was one from Uzugakure." One with 2 heads muttered, but Naruto's ears picked it up. Naruto, Kiba, Shikamaru, Neji, and Choji all jumped into the clearing and Naruto asked, "Uzugakure? Do you mean the Uzumaki clan? What the hell do you know about my fucking clan, shit stain?" Yuya asked, "Hey, everyone but the female is a target. I'd like to get to know my relative." Naruto said, "Relative? What the fucking hell are you talking about?" Yuya shouted at him, "Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze is the name, defeating enemy ninjas is my game." "Now then," Naruto said as he ran through hand signs. "Sheep horse." Kiba ran forward and tackled Yuya out of the way as Naruto shouted, "Fire style, great fire annihilation." The resulting white flames seared through the group as they dodged it and grabbed Sasuke's barrel and shouted, "Jirobo, take care of these guys." "Choji, this one is all yours," Naruto said as he smirked, and together he, Kiba, Shikamaru, and Neji all dashed off towards the others after using the Shadow Clone Jutsu to take a knocked unconscious Yuya back to Konoha. They dashed forward until they encountered the 6-armed one, in which Naruto smirked and said, "Neji, take care of this guy, oh and, don't die. I have no intention of having Hinata kill me." Neji nodded before the 2 of them vanished and Naruto, Shikamaru, and Kiba took off. Soon they encountered the 2-headed male and Kiba volunteered to be his opponent. Naruto and Shikamaru nodded before they dashed off towards where they sensed Sasuke's chakra. There they met with a guy with 2 red dots on his head. "Who the hell are you?" Naruto asked. "Kimimaru Kagaya. It is Lord Orochimaru's will that Sasuke Uchiha makes it to Oto. I am here to stop you from reaching him," the now-known Kagaya said. Shikamaru stepped forward and said, "Naruto, you go on ahead, out of the 2 of us. You have the best chance in retrieving Sasuke." "But Shikamaru, you can feel this guy's chakra, can't you? He's at least Junin in level alone. You need backup," Naruto stated. "And he will have backup," 2 familiar voices said. "Gaara, bushy brows," Naruto shouted in glee. "Go on, Naruto, we will back up our friend Shikamaru," Lee said. Naruto nodded before vanishing in a blur of movement heading towards Sasuke's chakra signature. When Naruto arrived at the Valley of the End, he noticed that Sasuke's chakra signature was already beyond that point, and so, feeling sad for the loss of a comrade to the hands of an enemy such as Orochimaru, he cried, tears of blood. He looked at the bottom and he saw something that made his blood run cold. As he jumped down, he saw something that confirmed his fears. He now possessed a Mangekyo Sharingan. The sheer shock of it made him pass out. What he didn't know was that Sasuke sensed him, turned around and proceeded to shove a Chidori through his chest. Just barely missing his heart, but obliterated his lung. Sasuke then left quickly as he felt Kakashi Hatake approaching ever closer. Kakashi knelt down beside Naruto and applied emergency aid before picking him up and carrying him back to Konoha. A few days later, Kurama was livid because he had to repair the damage done by Sasuke, which wasn't easy. He knew that if he wasn't there, even with Tsunade in Konoha, Naruto would have died. Naruto awoke groggy and in pain, not having fully healed yet. Tsunade came in and told him that he gave them quite the scare and that they classified his mission as a success due to the insight to bring Yuya into the village. She's family. I couldn't leave her there. They even said something about another Uzumaki under Orochimaru named Karen. I had to save her and Sasuke. Naruto said, well, forget it, as you are nowhere near strong enough to take on an entire hidden village on your own. A voice said from the window. Ero Sanin. Naruto shouted. Get ready, cuz when you're healed I'm taking you out of here to train you. Jiraiya said. Hinata came in with Kushina, Mito, Tobirama, Hashirama, and Minato and they all piled around him. As they worried over him, Tsunade pulled Jiraiya off to the side and she said, what are you gonna do? There's not much you can teach him anymore. Well, here's the thing. I'm gonna have Minato, Kushina, Shodem-sama, Niodame-sama, and Mito-sama teach him as they are part of his family. I'm also gonna help him get his other paths. Jiraiya said, smiling. What about Hinata? You gonna leave her abandoned without her paths? Tsunade asked. Nope, she's coming too. Jiraiya said. No, she is not. A voice said from the door. They all looked and saw one Hiyashi Hyuga step inside of the room. Look, Hiyashi, with all due respect, she may be your daughter, but she is a member of the Hidden Leaf Village's shinobi. Once she became a genin, she was an adult. Jiraiya said. You obviously haven't read up on your laws then. 14 years ago the Sandaime changed that law for clan members only because they viewed themselves as adults and the civilian shinobi viewed themselves as kids still. He tried to find equilibrium. Hiyashi said. And you obviously forgot that I changed it back 13 years ago in my first year as Hokage. Minato said viciously. Irrelevant. The moment you died your change became null and void. Hiyashi said. How about this? I change it back being as I am alive now. Minato said. You are not Hokage anymore. Hiyashi said. Naruto was getting angry that Hiyashi was trying to separate them for an unknown amount of time. The anger he was feeling was fueling Kurama's chakra and speeding up his healing process. Now see here, Hiyashi, Minato began. No, you see here? If Hinata leaves with Naruto Uzumaki, then not only will she be branded by the cursed seal, but also she will be banished from the Hyuga clan. The genes within her to pass on the Byakugan sealed away, and we, the Hyuga clan, will leave Konoha forever. Hiyashi said. Actually, you cannot. Hashirama said. Excuse me? Hiyashi asked with vile in his tone. According to the original charter, any clan in alliance to Konoha must stay in Konoha until its destruction. Hashirama said. And if you do place that seal on her, I will personally place it on you. Kushina said. Oh? And how would you do that? It is, Hiyashi began. An Uzumaki seal designed to keep intruders out that the Hyuga bastardized. However, even with the Hyuga taint on it, it is still an Uzumaki seal, and as an Uzumaki, I can place it upon you without even having to touch you. Test me, try what you said. I am sure that Tsunade will throw you in Anbu prison for treason, harming a member of her shinobi forces, and attempting to keep a potential bloodline from passing on to new generation, which by the way would have done you no good whatsoever. Or have you forgotten that Naruto has the Byakugan as well? Kushina said, which Tsunade nodded to. Hiyashi was furious and said, your views are irrelevant. If she leaves, what I said will occur. How's this then? Tsunade began. Hinata, are you living in his house right now? No, I'm living with Naruto-kun. Hinata said. Very well. Hiyashi, if you so much as touch her without proper consenting, then I will throw you into an Anbu holding cell to await execution after we have gotten every facet of information from you. Oh, and as the 5th Hokage I change the law back to its original state. Tsunade said with a tone that spoke of finality. Hiyashi was even more furious and said, you dared to go against the strongest clan Konoha has to offer? Naruto had enough. Shut up. The Hyuga aren't the strongest and neither are the Uchiha. If there is such a thing as the strongest clan in Konoha, it would have to be a tie between the Namikaze and the Nara. The Nara because of their superior IQ and the Namikaze for their superior fighting abilities. However, Hinata is no pushover and you are out of line to begin with. You forget that you yourself are a member of Konohagakure no Sato, and to challenge the Hokage is an act of treason punishable by public execution. Just think how shamed the Hyuga would be if their clan head or even a member or even a former member of their clan were to be publicly executed for treason. You should really think before you act. Besides, if Hinata, a Chunin, wishes to leave on a training trip with me and Jiraiya, you cannot stop her. Yes, Hiashi began before Tobirama hit him in the back of the head and Mito sealed him into a sealing scroll. It is said to be released by Neji Hyuga's chakra only. I will deliver it to the Hyugas immediately. Mito said before vanishing from sight as a testament to her sheer prowess and speed alone. When she arrived back, Tsunade was checking Naruto over and said, "You're as healthy as the day before the mission." Alright then, Naruto and Hinata, go home, pack enough for 3 years and be at the North Gate. Do not let your paths be seen yet. We will let everyone see your paths when they are complete. Jiraiya said. Hinata and Naruto nodded before vanishing in a swirl of lightning and arrived at the Namikaze mansion, and there they began packing. When they were finished they apologized profusely before sealing their paths away into a sealing scroll. They then left towards the North Gate and left never to see Konoha again for 3 years. THSTA all for now. If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments.